The story starts in a huge city just as the sun begins to come up. The tall buildings cast long shadows, and everything feels like it's waking up for another busy day. A single hair floats through the air, drifting lazily as if it's got nowhere important to be. The TV in the corner showed a news anchor talking about how the government wanted everyone to stay inside and keep calm. They were telling people to find a safe place and just wait things out until they got more updates. The guy's just standing there, not sure what to do next. He's sitting in the barber's chair, waiting as the clippers buzz around his head. The barber starts talking about some rumor going around, brushing it off like it's nothing serious. The barber shoots him a look, clearly not thrilled about how much he's moving around in the chair. He looks out at something far away, his eyes locked in and serious. Up in the sky, a huge ship shows up, and it's got an entire city sitting right on top of it. Not long after, monsters start showing up, making it clear things are about to get wild. He glances up when the announcement comes on. He tells the barber that everything's about to be over. The barber just stands there, totally lost, not sure what to make of it. The barber just assumes it's some prank or something, and figures the hunters have it under control anyway. He kept talking, admitting he'd never seen a monster before and wanted to know what they were actually like. All the while, he trimmed the guy's hair, acting casual, like this was just any other day. The NPC thinks about the creatures, and really hopes he'll get to see one for himself someday. Out of nowhere, a sharp blue beam of light shoots straight through the scissor professional's body. Blood sprays out in all directions, as the man's head gets cut straight down the middle. It wasn't only the barber, everything in the city was split right down the middle. Buildings, cars, even streetlights all cut clean in half like someone just drew a line through them. The whole place looked unreal, like something out of a video game glitch. For a second, nobody could believe what they were seeing. The monster that went after the barber shows up with two huge, blood-stained scissors in its hands, ready to use them as weapons. The panel zooms in on the creature's injured arm. The wound stands out, looking raw and painful, like it just happened. It's the kind of injury that makes anyone watching feel uneasy, and you can almost imagine how much it must hurt. There's this woman standing there. Her hair's completely white, and she looks pretty strange. She's got these sharp spikes sticking out of her back, and instead of regular legs, she's walking around on a pair of huge scissors. The creature ran its tongue along her weapon, acting like it was no big deal. Then, with a smirk, she tossed out a fake apology for hitting someone she wasn't supposed to. She leans over the barber's body, her mind racing with regret about messing up his haircut. She can't help but wonder if he'd ever forgive her for what happened. The monster woman suddenly spots another customer in the room. She can't believe she missed him before, and it catches her off guard. The villain walks up to the main guy, looking him over with a smirk. He's sizing him up, almost teasing, like he's about to mess with him or maybe just offer something weird, like a haircut. The whole thing feels off, but the main guy stands his ground, not backing away. He clenched his jaw, anger burning inside him, but it wasn't the monster that set him off. He yells out, totally upset that his hair's messed up. He keeps thinking he looks terrible now, and it really gets to him. The creature looked at him, clearly not expecting that kind of response. It seemed unsure, maybe even a little awkward, but tried to help by picking up where it left off with the haircut. She tells herself she's going to pay more attention this time, careful with the scissors so he doesn't get nicked again. The guy starts to notice something weird happening with his body. It's like he's glitching out, almost like a video game character lagging. He looks down at himself, confused and a bit freaked out, wondering what's going on. His arms and legs aren't moving the way they should, and it's clear he's not in control. This isn't normal, and he knows it. He yells out his system's name while his body keeps glitching, looking like he's about to lose control. Out of nowhere, a tiny hologram of a girl pops up, looking pretty annoyed. She's clearly not happy and acts like she's had to deal with this before, making it obvious she's warned him about stuff like this plenty of times already. Something weird started happening with his arm. Red energy, almost like sparks, began to show up out of nowhere. It looked wild, and he could definitely tell that whatever was going on wasn't normal. The energy starts to take shape, and suddenly the guy's hand changes into something really weird. Just like that, he brings out a sword. He sees the message pop up, reminding him to keep his eyes on the target. The main guy grips his blade tight and swings at the creature, putting all his energy into the attack. The creatures barely notice what's happening before the attack slams right into her. They don't get a chance to move or even process what's going on. In her last moments, the monster woman just stares, totally lost about how she ended up losing. She can't process what happened, almost frozen as everything sinks in. After the fight, he covers his face with his hands, annoyed that he's suddenly bald. Right then, the villain gets wiped out, breaking apart into tiny pieces. Red mist bursts out, spreading through the air. He gets ready to pull the hood off once more. The guy admits that he hit her on purpose. It wasn't by accident, unlike what happened with the barber earlier. Out of nowhere, the little assistant smacked him right across the face and told him to quit acting like he was all that. She kept talking, making it clear he needed to use her full name and show some respect. RMC doesn't pay her any attention and just throws out a sarcastic reply. His little companion gets even more annoyed, clearly not having it today. Li Fan steps forward and lets everyone know he's a D-rank hunter. Hunters are basically people who take on the job of fighting monsters. They're the ones who step up when things get dangerous, putting themselves in the line of fire to keep everyone else safe. Most folks just do their best to stay out of the way, but hunters are always out there, dealing with whatever comes through. The little girl points at the creature he just took down, making it clear he should hurry up and take its power. He doesn't waste time, moving closer, knowing this could be a big deal for him. He pushes his sword straight down into what's left of the monster. The assistant picks up new powers from his enemies and uses them to make his weapons stronger. With his new power, the main character notices his hair slowly growing back to how it used to be, fixing what was messed up before. He checks out the holographic screen in front of him and notices there aren't any skills left to upgrade. Frustrated, he lets out a sigh, wishing there was more he could do. He isn't interested in taking over the world like everyone else. He lets it sink in that he's actually been there for 5 whole years. All he wants is to finish his missions and get back home to his family. Out of nowhere, he remembers the sound of a picture frame breaking, the image popping up in his head like a video on repeat. He remembers the day his sister was taken from him. He watched it happen, yelling and reaching out, but there was nothing he could do. That moment still hurts every time he thinks about it. Right now, you can see the determination in his eyes growing stronger than before. He promises himself that he's going to find his sister, no matter what it takes. The little assistant tries to get his attention, hoping he'll snap out of it and focus again. She lets him know he's already taken in nearly all the energy from the monster lying there. He pulls his sword out of the creature's body, noticing that it's all dried up now. Glanced over at his partner, wondering how many more monsters he'd have to take down before he could finally head home. The battles were starting to wear him out, and all he wanted was to wrap things up and call it a day. The assistant pulled up a screen, showing the total monster count. It said he'd taken down 9,995 already, and only 5 were left. He lets out a small smile, finally starting to relax. In his head, he counts it out, just 5 more to go. He glanced out at the wrecked city, noticing even more monsters lurking far away. For the first time, he realized he didn't have to stick around anymore. He could actually move on. The news flashed across the screen, letting everyone know the monsters were now heading straight for City A. He puts together a simple gravestone for the barber, the guy he liked to call Tony. The main guy pauses for a second, quietly hoping things go well for the NPC. Not long after, he and his partner get ready to head out. The boy grinned as he dashed through the city streets, his energy obvious. He couldn't wait to get home, his excitement almost impossible to hide. People are running everywhere, barely looking where they're going. Some trip over bags or bump into each other, just trying to get away from whatever's got everyone so on edge. The street that's usually busy with regular life is now pretty much a mess, with guys and girls darting between cars and pushing past anyone in their way. The whole scene feels tense, like something really bad just happened, and no one wants to stick around to find out what's next. The weird creature suddenly shoots out a bunch of red beams from its body, sending them flying everywhere. The beams cut through the crowd, hitting people as they tried to get away. One after another, the civilians dropped, unable to escape. There was no hesitation in the attack. Anyone caught in the path was taken out instantly. 2 guys crouched behind some broken concrete, keeping low as they watched everything around them get wrecked. One of the guys starts freaking out, clearly scared, and thinks this time they're not getting out of it. Even the city's strongest protectors couldn't win this fight. His friend steps up, giving him a reassuring look. Even though things seem rough, his friend reminds him that it's not over yet. There's still a chance things could work out. The young man explains that City A has 3 elite hunters who are really strong and keep everyone safe. He mentions the last one is just a legend, and right then, a bolt of lightning hits the monster. The attack lets out a huge burst of electricity, lighting up the area so much that people far away can spot it. Out of the smoke, a new hunter steps forward. Sparks crackle all around him, and he's got this cocky grin on his face, like he already knows he's going to win. The newcomer steps forward, eyeing the group of enemies in front of him. He takes a quick look and figures out there are 5 monsters standing there. He flashes a confident grin, certain that his hunter rank is about to shoot up today. Out of nowhere, the hero's face shifts. The tentacle monster with its strange legs raised one up high, getting ready to stomp down on the hero. The creature lets out a loud roar and stomps its foot on the ground with force. The monster, looking smarter than it should, pauses for a second, trying to figure out if it actually landed a hit on him. The monster swung hard, but its attack only smashed into the ground, leaving a huge crater behind. Out of nowhere, a voice boomed down from above, calling out how slow the attack was and saying there was no way it would ever land. Just then, the hunter with bright yellow hair rushed ahead, moving crazy fast. Golden lightning crackled all around him as he sprinted sprinted forward, looking totally focused and ready for anything. He turns into lightning and shoots straight at the creature. The punch lands straight on the tentacle monster, catching it off guard and leaving it totally open. Smoke bursts out everywhere from the blast, quickly covering the whole battlefield so no one can see what's going on. When the survivors saw what happened, they started to relax. Some of them even smiled and let out a breath they'd been holding, thinking it was all over and the danger was finally gone. One of the NPCs started showing off, telling everyone how he got the hero's trading card way before the hero was well known. He pulls out the card with Lee, the electric hunter, and hands it over for his friend to check out. The guy spots a chance to make some quick cash and tries to sell the item to his friend, but he throws out a price that's way too high. Out of nowhere, another monster charges in and takes out the NPC, not holding back at all. The weird-looking monster takes out the guy, leaving his friend freaking out. Panic hits the group, and everyone starts scrambling to get away. The creature leans down, grabs the book off the ground, and looks it over, curious about what it's found. He couldn't help but wonder what it was, his curiosity pulling him in as he tried to figure it out. The two monsters moved closer, standing side by side. They stared down the hunter from far away, clearly not impressed. To them, he was nothing, just someone in their way, barely worth their attention. The hero clenched his jaw, clearly ticked off by what just happened right in front of him. His fists tightened, and anyone could tell he was barely holding back his anger. As his electrical energy ramps up, he suddenly lifts off the ground, floating in the air. He cranked up his power all the way, and a bright blue ball of energy started forming in his hands. His face was serious, and it was obvious he was mad about what happened. He wasn't going to let it slide. The hunter brings his fist up, and this blue energy ball starts to glow in his hand. The blast lands right on one of the creatures, but instead of blowing up like he expected, the energy just gets trapped, as if something is holding it in. Lei stared at his opponent, stunned when he realized his best move hadn't left a scratch. He couldn't believe it. He'd put everything into that hit, but it was like nothing even happened. For a second, he just stood there, not sure what to do next. Out of nowhere, a new monster pops up behind him. Its mouth is wide open, and it's getting ready to fire off some kind of energy blast. The red creature suddenly aims at the hero and blasts out a strong beam of energy. The hero quickly puts up a wall of lightning in front of him, hoping it'll stop the attack coming his way. The beam hits with so much force that it launches him backward. The monsters noticed their chance and started moving in on the hunter, ready to attack. The hero suddenly finds himself surrounded as the creature's tentacles come at him from every direction. Even though he's stuck on the ground, he keeps moving just fast enough to avoid getting grabbed. He blocks one of the hits and gets annoyed, wondering if all these monsters are somehow related. He realized things weren't really going his way. The hunter keeps his cool as the monster lashes out at him with its tentacles. He dodges and blocks each attack, staying focused and not letting the wild swings throw him off. Even with the creature coming at him from all sides, he manages to hold his ground, not letting any of the strikes land. He grinned, already thinking up a way to knock out the weakest enemy before dealing with the rest. He sends out a huge blast of lightning, forcing the tentacles to pull back. The jolt of electricity knocks them back a little. He spots an opening and takes off, rushing straight at the monster wrapped in bandages. The monster stands its ground, looking weird and out of place. The creature starts taking off its bandages, revealing what's underneath. Bandages twist tightly around the hero's body, holding him up in the air so he can't move at all. Bandages alone just aren't cutting it for him. He pushes himself, using everything he's got to get out, but the bandages just hold tight, not reacting to the electricity at all. Right then, he suddenly notices that the bandages are pulling in all his electricity. It catches him off guard, and he stands there, realizing what's happening as the energy drains away. The hero just stands there, staring in disbelief. He tries to figure out how a monster could pull off something like that. It doesn't make sense to him, and he can't help but question what he's really up against. The bandages wrap around him even more, squeezing hard. He can't hold back and starts yelling as all his strength gets sucked out of him. He keeps yelling, losing both his strength and his powers at the same time. Every second he feels weaker, like something's draining him dry. He's too weak to fight back now, so the bandages just pull him along straight to where the other monsters are waiting. The hero slumped to the ground, looking worn out and kind of lost. He couldn't believe how quickly things had turned against him. He'd just gotten into the whole hunter thing, and now it seemed like his story was about to get cut short before it even really began. The disappointment hit hard, and he couldn't help but wonder if this was really it for him. Everyone in the crowd started to look defeated when they realized Lei couldn't handle the creatures either. It was like the last bit of hope just faded away, and nobody knew what to do next. But then, just when things look rough, he shows up, the guy everyone's been waiting for. He rolled up on his small scooter, looking pretty relaxed about the whole thing. He didn't seem to care about getting there fast, just taking it easy. Meanwhile, his assistant looked kind of annoyed, probably because he stopped for every red light instead of speeding through. The little assistant checked out the monsters and grinned, clearly thinking they looked pretty tasty. The electric hunter suddenly shouts, signaling to the newcomer that things are getting out of hand, and it's not safe to stick around. He makes it clear with his actions that the best move right now is to leave before things go south. One of the creatures doesn't even slow down and goes straight for the guy, rushing at him faster than he expected. The hero shouts over his shoulder, urging the guy to get moving before the monster catches up and takes him out. RMC tries to calm him down, but right then, his arm suddenly starts to glow. The tentacle creature catches a strange reflection in its eye. Instantly, it stops moving, frozen with fear. Out of nowhere, a huge red hand clamped down hard on the monster's head, stopping it in its tracks. The grip was unreal, like nothing the monster had ever faced before. The attack lands straight on the creature's head, taking it out instantly. The thing doesn't even get a chance to fight back or run. The giant hand comes down hard, smashing the monster's body against the ground. Everyone, monsters, and the hero just stood there frozen. They couldn't believe what they'd seen. For a second, it was like the whole place went quiet and nobody moved or said a word. Even the toughest ones looked like they were trying to figure out if that had really just happened. He starts to think about how this guy got so strong. Maybe he's some kind of top-tier hunter no one's heard about before. The bandage monster looks nervous, glancing at the stranger and clearly wondering who this guy is. Steps up and lets everyone know he's the hunter Lee Fan. He puts himself out there, making sure people see who he really is. The creature flips through its book, searching for his name, but there's nothing there. He smiled, kind of joking around, and wondered if maybe he was just a D-rank hunter. When he heard that, the hero snapped. He couldn't believe someone ranked so low could actually have that kind of strength. It really got under his skin, and he couldn't help but let his anger show. One of the monsters steps up and gives the signal for the others to take out the main character for good. Right then, the creatures all rushed at him at once. He looks over at his assistant to see if she's set, and she just gives him a look like, of course. Right then, the red energy in his arm started to change. The energy started to take shape, turning into a weird-looking sword. It was made out of bone, and right on the hilt there was an eye staring back. With his new weapon in hand, he cuts right through the tentacles as they come at him, barely breaking a sweat. When the monster caught sight of him, its three eyes snapped wide open, suddenly paying close attention to what was going on. The creature starts to puff up, making itself look even bigger. He drops to his knees and smacks both hands down on the ground. The villain pulls its jaws wide open, and a massive ball of blue energy starts building up inside its mouth. He quickly lifts his hand, and a stone wall shoots up in front of him, blocking the attack just in time. The blast of energy slammed into the barrier, lighting it up for a second, but the shield held strong and didn't let anything through. The attack didn't get through, so now he's getting ready to hit back fast. The giant creature watches as the wall breaks apart. He didn't expect his defense to fall apart like that, and it catches him off guard. The main character grips his sword and gets ready to fight back. He jumps forward, moving quick and determined, not wasting a second as he charges in for another attack. He jumps into the air, pulling in his energy as everyone watches. With a smooth move, he brings his blade down on the monster, making it look almost effortless. He strikes the creature hard on the head, putting an end to it. As he does, he calls out the number 9,997. After taking down the enemy, he glances over at the other two monsters. They freeze, eyes wide, clearly scared of what he might do next. The guy looks at the group and lets them know they're up next. He gives off a calm confidence, making it clear he's not backing down. The others start to tense up, realizing it's about to get real. He steps forward and heads straight for one of the creatures, not wasting any time. He swings his sword and hits the enemy, but the blade just bounces off. The thing's skin is way tougher than he expected. He couldn't believe it. His move didn't land like he thought it would. For a second, he just stood there, trying to figure out what went wrong. Disappointment crept in, but he tried to hide it, not wanting anyone to see him second-guessing himself. The monster looked at him with a smug grin, clearly enjoying itself. It acted like he was already beaten, throwing in a jab about how he was useless now, and that his sword wouldn't even work against someone he cared about. His partner hears what he says and looks at him, kind of serious. She lets him know that if he calls her broken, she can't really be a sword for him anymore. Right then, out of nowhere, it changed shape and turned into a massive hammer, kind of like something out of Green Lantern. He gripped his heavy weapon and rushed ahead, determined to take down the monsters in his way. He manages to nail both creatures at the same time. Dust explodes everywhere from the hit, filling the air and making it hard to see what's going on. RMC noticed his clothes were filthy and looked pretty annoyed about it. His partner blamed him for what happened. The electric hunter stares, totally caught off guard by what's right in front of him. He just stands there, barely moving, trying to process everything. What he's seeing doesn't add up, and for a second, it's like the whole world just paused around him. He starts shouting, clearly confused about how hunters are only supposed to have one power, but this kid somehow has a bunch. He runs his hand over his face, not really totally up for giving a reply right now. He grinned, letting everyone know he absorbs the powers of every monster he takes down. The electric hunter lay on the ground, his mind racing after what he'd just seen. He couldn't believe someone could pull off something that weird, and for a second he started to question if powers like that were even real. The guy turns toward the last monster still on its feet. He lifts his weapon, making it clear that the fight isn't over yet. The monster can tell he's in trouble. He's definitely next. The hero calls out, catching the guy's attention just as he's about to move on. He stops and turns around, curious about what the hero wants. The guy lets him know he needs to watch out for the enemy, since the bandage monster had already sucked up all his electricity. The main character notices that the creature's ability reminds him of his partner, S. She thinks hers is way better, but there's something about this creature that feels familiar to her. Right then, the bandage-covered creature started glowing with this weird, dark purple light. The main guy just grinned, looking totally sure of himself. He showed no concern at all about how strong the enemy was. He realizes that beating this monster is the only way to get home. If he wins, he can finally leave this place and return to his own world. He heads straight for what he wants, not slowing down or looking back. He takes off, moving crazy fast straight at the creature. The bandage monster doesn't waste a second. As soon as it senses the attack, it shoots out a bunch of its wrappings, aiming to snatch the guy while he's still up in the air. The bandages stretched out through the air, reaching for him like they had a mind of their own. His partner called out, warning him to watch out for whatever was coming next. He doesn't let the enemy's bandages freak him out. With one quick move, he cuts right through all of them while they're still in the air. He figures out what the enemy's weakness is. Now he knows all he has to do is dodge those bandages to come out on top. The creature focuses and gathers purple lightning in its hands. The creature suddenly blasts out a beam of purple energy. The boy has to move fast, dodging out of the way just in time. The attack barely catches him, scratching his face and leaving a thin cut behind. His teammate points out how close he came to getting knocked out, and he just brushes it off, saying he messed up and wasn't paying attention. The electric hero suddenly realizes something crazy. The creature isn't just taking his powers, it's actually using them against him. That hits hard, catching him off guard. He stares, trying to process how his own strength just got turned around on him. It's a lot to take in, and for a second, he's not sure what to do next. The guy quickly figures out what's going on, and knows he has to pick up the pace if he wants any chance at winning. Right then, he suddenly gets turbines popping out on his calves, just like that dude Ida from My Hero Academia. It gives him this crazy boost, and he's ready to take off way faster than before. With his new power kicking in, he rushes ahead, sword in hand, moving way faster than anyone would expect. The bandage creature steadies itself and starts playing with a bunch of purple lightning bolts in its hands. He doesn't bother slowing down at all. Instead, he cranks up the turbines, pushing himself forward even faster. He pushes off with so much force that it almost seems like he's blasting straight up, leaving everyone watching in awe. He lets the energy fade away and swings his sword, hitting with full force. He could feel the full weight of it, like getting hit by a truck. Blade moves in, stepping right up to the creature. But then, something unexpected happens that catches him off guard. The creature moves fast and grabs the guy's sword, stopping it cold like it's nothing. The dude can hardly believe it. He's used to people flinching or backing off, but this thing isn't even phased. For a second, everything just freezes, and he realizes he's up against something way tougher than he thought. The main guy didn't expect the opponent to block like that. He tries to figure out how they pulled it off, running different plays through his head. The monster reaches out and wraps its hands around his legs, right where his thrusters are. The thrusters fired up, and their energy started moving toward the creature. His partner shouts out, pointing out that something weird is happening. The jet's power is getting drained right in front of them. The monster lifts its hand, and everyone can tell it's about to use another power. The creature, now powered up from what it had taken, forms thrusters right in the center of its palm. The creature fired up the thrusters in its hand and smacked the guy hard, like the kind of slap you never want to catch in front of your friends. Right when that massive slap was coming his way, he threw up another wall to block it just in time. The slap doesn't even leave a mark on the shield. Instead, something weird happens. The creature starts pulling the shield's power right into itself, like it's eating it. His partner suddenly shouts out that the armor power got absorbed too, and urges everyone to get out of there fast. It's already too late. The guy's stuck, and the weight starts pressing down on him. He tries to figure things out, running different ideas through his head. He isn't sure what will work, but he keeps at it, hoping he'll land on something that makes sense. He pushed back as hard as he could, but the strain was too much. His clothes began to rip under the pressure, seams splitting and fabric giving way. The creature fired up its thruster and slammed the iron shield down onto the ground. Even though it looked like serious trouble, the guy barely managed to dodge in time and stay safe. The main guy realizes he underestimated his opponent. Turns out this enemy is tougher than he expected. The hero lay on the ground, clearly struggling. He looked beat, like he'd just gone a few rounds with someone way out of his league. It was obvious he didn't think they stood a chance against this enemy. Looking to the younger guy, he signaled for some backup, someone way stronger, an S-rank hunter. The situation was getting serious, and they needed help fast. He stands his ground ground, determined not to give up the monster. To him, this creature is his only way back, and there's no chance he's letting anyone else take it. He steps up to the creature, watching as it starts using the shield move it picked up from him earlier. The creature grabs the shield and pulls it close, using it like a tough iron shell to protect itself. It moves a bit slower now, but you can tell it feels a lot safer behind that heavy cover. The main character stands there looking sure of himself. He's figured something out, and it shows on his face. Now he knows exactly what to do to take down this enemy. The guy steps up to his opponent, keeping his cool. He points out that this thing just soaks up power, but it doesn't act smart or anything. The creature shapes some iron into a heavy gauntlet, getting ready to swing at the boy. The main guy notices that the creature burns through its energy as soon as it gets it. It doesn't save anything for later, just uses up everything right away. The electric hunter saw how confident he looked and started to freak out, shouting at him to watch out. He doesn't pay any attention to the dude standing nearby. Instead, he focuses on the monster coming at him and slips out of the way before it can land a hit. RMC points out the weak spot, thinking this could be his chance to turn things around. As he gets ready, a green energy starts to glow on his arm, catching everyone's attention. Green energy started to show up, forming into thorns and vines. The vines started curling around the monster, twisting as they moved. The monster moves in and starts sucking up the vines that the boy had sent out. The creature loses control, and vines start growing everywhere on their own. He spots the right moment and signals everyone that it's time to go for it. His blade suddenly catches fire, burning bright and wild. The blade shows up, flames blazing all around it. With a burst from his thrusters, the guy launches himself at the creature, his sword blazing with fire. His attack breaks right through the enemy's guard. The attack lands hard, cutting straight through the creature and splitting it clean in half. Suddenly, a blue screen pops up right in front of him. He checks the counter and sees it's at 9,999.5. He sees the broken number on the screen and his anger flares up. It doesn't make sense to him, and he just wants to know what's going on. At the same time, the monster's body starts to burn where it fell. Out of nowhere, he freezes and his eyes lock onto the creature in front of him. For a second, he just stands there, trying to process what he's seeing. The fire covering the enemy starts acting weird. It flickers and twists around, almost like it's got a mind of its own. Everyone watching can tell something's not right. The monster's remains started to twitch and shift on the ground, moving in a way that wasn't normal at all. He stares at it, totally confused, trying to figure out what's going on. The creature started to change right in front of him, turning into a girl with bright white hair and horns. The guy just stood there, frozen, not sure what he was even looking at. He couldn't hold back anymore. Frustration took over, and suddenly, cold energy burst out from him, spreading ice across the ground. Ice shards zip through the air, heading straight for the girl. The ice spreads fast, snuffing out the fire that had been all around the girl. Lying in the frozen ashes, the girl with white hair and horns is out cold. The guy casually slips off his jacket, showing a bit of old-school manners. He rushes over to the girl and pulls her into a hug, confused about why his sister showed up. She stands there in her form, looking totally clueless. She starts to wonder if that's actually his sister or not. He remembers what his friend once told him, how she came into this world from inside a terrifying creature. That memory sticks with him, making him see her in a whole new way. It's not something most people would brag about, but for her, it's just part of her story. The main character thought back to his real sister. He was sure this girl couldn't be her. He takes it in right away, not even questioning it. Thinking this must be some kind of trick, the guy reaches for his sword, ready to see what's really going on. He stands over the girl, looking a little tense. He knows he messed up and feels bad about it, but he also really needs those 10,000 points. He leaned in, his face stopping just inches from hers. Her eyes widened a little as he got that close, and for a second, it felt like time slowed down. Right when he's about to go in for the hit, the girl's eyes start to open, slow and steady. The guy sits there, totally lost, trying to figure out why she decided to wake up at this moment. The girl kept her eyes wide open, just looking straight at the guy. Out of nowhere, her purple eyes caught his reflection. The main character just freezes up, caught off guard by what happens. He can't move or think straight, totally stuck in the moment. Out of nowhere, the girl stands up and wraps her arms around the guy. He just sits there, not really sure what's happening or what he's supposed to do next. He looks annoyed and tries to shove the girl off him. He shoves the girl aside with his hand, not holding back at all. He quickly backs away, raising his voice and telling her to stay back. He doesn't trust her and makes it clear he's not falling for anything. He holds the blade steady, aiming it right at her chest. She draws the blade across her chest, leaving a thin line behind. But then, she does something that totally catches him off guard. She grabs Bull's blade and starts stabbing herself. She loosens her grip on the sword, taking a breath before reaching her hand out to him. She reaches out and gently places her hand on his face. Her voice is barely there when she calls him brother, sounding tired and worn out. When he hears the news, the guy just freezes. Words won't come out and his mind goes blank. It's one of those moments where everything stops and he can't believe what he just heard. The girl's eyes fluttered closed as she slumped to the ground, her injury too much for her to handle. The guy manages to catch her just in time. He's honestly freaking out a bit, thinking about how dangerous that was and how easily things could have gone wrong. His partner tells tells him that things might actually be easier if she didn't make it, saying she's nothing but a monster anyway. Even though he'd been told not to, the guy still kept the girl close, not letting go. His strange-looking arm reaches out and rests on her shoulder. As he held her, he thought back to when she called him brother. The main guy shouts out, and without thinking much, quickly makes up his mind about what to do next. His arm starts glowing with a bright green light. Right then, the cut on the girl's body starts closing up fast, like someone hit the rewind button on an injury. His partner wondered if he wanted to leave, but he made it clear he couldn't fight someone who looked just like his sister. He keeps staring at the girl who's passed out in his arms, not really sure what to do next. He lifts her up and decides to keep her nearby, figuring it'll be easier to find out what he needs to know that way. He starts to walk away, but then hears someone behind him telling him to stop. The guy standing there was the electric hunter, who called himself Lei. He told everyone he was a C-rank hunter. He watched the fight break out, completely caught off guard. His heart started beating faster as he tried to process what was happening in front of him. It wasn't something he saw coming, and for a moment he just stood there, not sure what to do next. The hunter locks eyes with him, looking totally focused and ready for whatever's coming next. The guy lowers his head, clearly desperate, hoping the main character will take him on as a student. He turns down the offer right away, not interested at all. The dude looks surprised, not really getting what's going on. Meanwhile, the main guy just shrugs it off, acting like it's no big deal. He says he's got bigger things to worry about and hints that he won't be sticking around much longer. The hunter hears the answer and just stands there, not sure how to react. He gives a small, awkward laugh, clearly caught off guard. The young guy wondered why the other dude was still walking behind him. Turns out the guy lived in the same direction, so they both ended up heading down the same street toward home. The guys step out into the apartment hallway, and of all the places in the world, the hunter's apartment is literally right next to theirs. The guy gave a friendly smile and called him master. He explained that he hadn't been making things up and that they actually lived next door to each other. The young guy didn't let the other man finish talking. He just interrupted and made it clear he didn't want to be called master anymore. The main guy's in this story. He reaches out and grabs the door handle. He steps through the door and uses his foot to push it shut behind him. The hunter quickly blocks the door before it closes and tries to get the guy to let him inside. He can't take it anymore and just slams the door right in the guy's face. He kept holding her close, arms wrapped around her like he didn't want to let go. He sets the girl down on the sofa while the guy keeps shouting outside. The MC hears from his partner that this guy just won't give up. The MC thinks about it for a second, then decides he'd rather not get caught up with anyone from around here. He's not really interested in whatever drama the locals have going on. He glances over at the girl sitting on the sofa, curious about her. He can't help but wonder how she ended up here and wants to find out where she's from. His boots, still smeared with blood, left messy tracks across the floor as he walked. He notices how grimy he is and heads for the shower, wanting to wash off and feel fresh again. While he was getting ready to hop in the shower, his friends started wondering what he'd do if the girl woke up while he was gone. When he heard that, the guy paused for a second. He started to think it over and realized this might turn into a real problem. The guy suddenly gets an idea, and with his strange power, he manages to tie the girl to the sofa. He just wants to make sure she stays put and doesn't try to escape. With the girl tied up tight, he figured she wouldn't be going anywhere anytime soon. Out of nowhere, the girl's eyes snap open. He didn't notice she was awake, and by then, his shirt was already off. He steps into the bathtub, ready to clean up after the long day. He sat back in the hot water, letting out a long breath. The warmth soaked into his muscles, and for a second, all the stress just faded away. Nothing really beat chilling in the bath after a long day. It was like hitting pause on everything else. He started thinking about what might happen if he actually made it back to his own world. He glanced over at his partner, curious about what she'd do if he just disappeared one day and went home. The thought hung in the air, making him wonder how things would change for both of them. The little one drifted in the water, totally relaxed. If she lost her current host, she figured she'd just find someone else, no big deal. Hearing that, the guy starts thinking. He wonders what she's really trying to do as a system and what her real goal is. His friend just shrugs and says she's bored, but the main guy brushes it off and tells her not to worry about it. Out of nowhere, someone showed up at the bathroom door. It caught the main guy off guard, making his heart skip a beat. The girl smashed right through the glass door to get inside, not even realizing it was supposed to slide open. The guy just stood there, watching the mess, clearly annoyed that she didn't notice how the door actually worked. His partner nudged him, letting him know he was focusing on the wrong thing. The busted door wasn't what really mattered right now. The guy stands there, totally lost, trying to figure out how she managed to get away when he was sure he'd tied her up. She remembered the moment she broke out, leaving the old shell behind to finally set herself free. It was kind of funny looking back, like she just popped out without any warning, ready to start fresh and see what happened next. He tries to figure out how he could tell what she did just by looking at her face. She tunes out everything around her and heads straight for him. The main guy's pretty annoyed because monsters just never do what they're supposed to. He's tired of dealing with them since they always mess things up or act unpredictable, and it's starting to get on his nerves. Inside the bathroom, the two of them just stood there, locking eyes without saying a word. The quiet felt heavy between them, as neither wanted to look away or make the first move. The girl suddenly pushes herself ahead. She suddenly hops right into the bathtub with him, grinning like it's the best idea ever. The main guy wondered if this whole situation was a setup, his mind racing with doubts. His friend brought up another idea. Maybe it was something like imprinting, not just a trick. Both of them tried to figure out what was really going on, not sure what to believe. His friend tells him how, with baby birds, the first person they see ends up being their mom. She tells him that he's basically her dad now, and the guy just sits there, totally caught off guard. He shoves her back, his voice rising as he reminds her not to forget who she really is, a monster in his eyes. The girl gets pushed aside, and she looks pretty down after getting turned away. The moment he glanced at her, his face turned red. He doesn't waste any time. He jumps right into action. He shoves the girl's head down into the water. Underwater, her eyes went wide, like she just spotted something that caught her off guard. His friend wonders why he doesn't just tell her to leave, but the guy figures it's easier to keep things the way they are. Under the water, the girl keeps her eyes wide open, staring straight ahead. The MC called her up on stage, and Aaron wanted to know her name. He didn't really get what was going on. The girl grinned wide, finally letting everyone know her name was A. His friend started grumbling about how cold the water was, but he just told them to hang on a bit. He'd be done soon. It was kind of awkward, but he tried to play it cool while they waited. After the bath, he grabs a hair dryer and starts drying Lish's hair. He noticed that the girl looked a lot like his sister, and when he brought it up, she just stared at him, not really sure what he meant. He sets the hair dryer down, ready to move on. His partner looked over at and didn't think she was all that sharp. He figured there was no way they'd actually get any real info from her. When the main guy noticed the girl hardly had any clothes on, he figured he should find something for her to wear. He picks out a shirt and some shorts from his drawer and throws them over to her. Just starts changing clothes right there, not even thinking twice about it. The guy sees what's happening and his face turns red instantly. He looks away, not really sure where to put his eyes. Once she was dressed, the girl stood up from the bed. She finishes getting dressed, then spins around so everyone can see how the new clothes fit her. He starts blushing when he sees how the clothes fit her, almost like she's wearing a dress. He reaches out and puts his hand on her shoulder, letting her know he's got her back. He tells her they'll head out tomorrow to pick up some new clothes, so she won't have to worry about it alone. Out of nowhere, her stomach growls so loud that anyone nearby could hear it. RMC glanced at the clock and noticed it was getting late. His stomach started to rumble, and he remembered probably hadn't eaten either. It was definitely time for both of them to grab some food. He walks over to the fridge and opens it, checking out what's inside so he can figure out what to eat for dinner. With a good amount of meat in front of him, the guy gets to work and starts cooking. Skill grabs the pan and gets to work, tossing the food in with confidence. He looks pretty chill about it, not overthinking, just focused on making sure everything cooks right. The kitchen smells good already, and he seems to know exactly what he's doing. The table was piled high with food, and once everything was set, the girl couldn't help herself. She was practically drooling. She grabs just one tiny grain of rice and gives it a try, wanting to see how the food turned out. The main character notices her and can't help but smile. She really reminds him of his own sister. Out of nowhere, his face shifts as he picks up on a weird noise coming from the table. He looks over his shoulder and spots the girl munching on the bowl instead of the food. He's kind of thrown off, realizing she's not supposed to be eating that. The guy grabs the bowl right out of her hand, looking annoyed and a bit fed up, like he can't believe what just happened. Looked over at the pot and made it clear she went for more because she still felt hungry. He heads over to the fridge, expecting to find something to eat, but when he opens the door, there's nothing inside. Not even a leftover snack, just empty shelves staring back at him. He tries to smile, but his mind is somewhere else. He can't help but think about how fast she finished all the food. He scratched his head and let out a sigh. It was already late, and every place to grab food had closed. Right then, the guy from next door is in his apartment, working out with some weights. The guy pauses his workout when he hears something by his apartment door. He heads over to check it out, curious about the noise. He hears the doorbell and heads over to check who's at the door. The moment he steps through the door, the dude jumps right in, hoping to get accepted as a disciple. But before he can even finish, the main guy shuts him down fast. The MC just brushes the guy off and looks around, wondering if there's anything to eat. Turns out, already cleared out all the food in the house. The guy reached out with a handful of snacks, treating like she was some kind of VIP. But the main guy just brushed it off, letting everyone know wasn't anyone special. With that, the atmosphere in the room changed. Everyone sat a little eyes fixed on what was about to happen next. The tension hung in the air, making it hard to ignore. This was the moment they'd all been waiting for, and no one wanted to miss a second of it. She sits on the couch, eyes fixed on the huge pile of food in front of her. She took it all in with just one look. Both the guy and his neighbor stand frozen, their eyes wide and mouths slightly open. Neither of them moves, like they're trying to process what just happened. The main guy gets worked up when he sees about to munch on the snack wrappers. He quickly reacts, clearly not cool with her weird snack choice, and tries to stop her before she actually eats any of the packaging. He pulled her aside, bugging her about what she eats, but deep down, he realized he was starting to go easy on her. Right then, his stomach growls loud enough to remind him he hasn't had a single bite all day, all thanks to the girl. The neighbor steps in and suggests they grab something to eat. Everyone decides to head over to the house together. He nods and goes along with it. They end up in a pitch-black alley, where two NPCs stand watch at the entrance of some building. The dude steps up and says hi to the guards. Right behind him, the main guy and keep close, sticking together as they head in. One of the guards starts acting like he's the toughest guy around, making it clear he thinks the place wouldn't be safe without him there. The guard pulls open the heavy metal door, letting the group head inside. They head inside. The main character glanced around, thinking this place didn't really look like a restaurant. The guy just smirked, acting like he knew something others didn't, and waved off any doubts. The neighbor opened the door and waved for him and to come inside. When they looked inside, the guy and both froze for a second, not expecting what they saw. Their eyes widened as they tried to process it, caught off guard by whatever was in front of them. The place turned out to be this huge underground club packed with people. Everyone seemed to be enjoying themselves, music playing loud and lights flashing all over. The two of them made their way through the busy crowd. The guy started talking, letting the other know that the owner here isn't just anybody. He's actually a really strong hunter. The guy wonders why the other man just stood by during the attack instead of helping out. The answer he gets: hunters only step in when they want to, not because they have to. Sitting at the bar, the MC stared into his drink, thinking about the hunter organization. It wasn't as simple as he first thought. There were layers to it, stuff going on behind the scenes that most people didn't notice. As he sat there, he realized he'd only scratched the surface of what the group was really about. Out of nowhere, they notice Gone. Everyone starts scanning the crowd, trying to spot her. Their hearts race a little as they weave through people, hoping she didn't wander off too far. The guy glances over at the dance floor and spots the girl. She's right in the middle of the action, standing out without even trying. A huge guy walked up to him. Rube reaches out and grabs Lish's arm, his smile looking off in a way that makes things awkward. He tells her to come have a drink with him, and the whole thing just feels weird. The guy tightens his grip on her arm, clearly wanting her to follow him right away. The NPC shows up, clearly dressed to turn heads and make sure everyone's looking her way. The moment he realizes what's going on, he jumps to his feet. He remembers when his sister was in trouble before, and anger starts building up inside him. The whole thing feels way too close to what happened back then, and he can't help but get upset all over again. The militia stared at the man, his face all serious, like he was sizing him up and deciding if he could be trusted. The girl grabs the man's big fist with both hands and pushes back, trying hard to hold him off. Doesn't even hesitate. She grabs the guy and slams him straight to the ground, making it look almost too easy. When the guy saw how strong was, he couldn't believe it. He just stared at her, surprised, and ended up calling her Lady Master. The main guy just grinned, thinking his friend must forgotten how scary she could be, even though she looked totally different now. Out of nowhere, another guy smacks his hand down on the table, loud enough to grab everyone's attention. Right then, the brute's buddies roll in looking a little rattled. Turns out they'd gone and picked a fight with a bald gang. The guy looks around, not really sure what's going on. He notices that everyone in this group, the ones from the show called Gang, has hair. This detail stands out to him, and he can't help but wonder about it as he tries to figure out what he's gotten himself into. All the guys ended up crying, each in their own way. The guy decides to push the man's buttons, basically calling him and his crew useless. The gang leader stares straight at him, eyes burning with anger. The brute called out to his crew, signaling them to rush the young guy together. Our MC pulls out his weapon, and this red energy starts glowing from his arm. Suddenly, all that energy starts to pull together and turns into a red staff right in the boy's hand. He grips the weapon and starts moving forward, taking slow steps. He goes after the guys, throwing punches. One of the goons takes the full hit from the powerful strike. He barely has time to react before it lands, knocking him back hard. With one quick spin, the young guy takes down every gang member around him at the same time. The gang members lay sprawled out on the ground, totally out cold. They had clearly lost, not even able to pick themselves up. The place was quiet now, just the sound of heavy breathing from anyone still standing. Cheered for him, clearly pumped about his win, but he just shrugged it off and didn't really pay much attention to the applause. The neighbor spotted the fight and wasn't happy about it. She let the main guy know what she thought, clearly annoyed by the scene, but he just wondered if he was supposed to stand by and do nothing. The guy kept talking, letting everyone know that if the owner found out about the fight, they'd all be in serious trouble. Out of nowhere, a strange voice cuts through, letting him know there's no turning back now. A huge, ripped guy showed up and let everyone know he was the leader of the bald gang. The brute leaned in, giving the guy a rough pat on the cheek just to show he was in charge. He made it clear they had messed up by getting involved with his crew, and he wasn't about to let that slide. The guy tries to figure out who this man is, and his friend lets him know that the guy standing there is actually the boss of the local gang. He grinned, not really buying it, and wondered if there were actually enough bald people out there to need more than one division. The gang boss looks right at the main guy and gives him a hard stare. The man looks down at the kid, making it clear what he wants. If the kid drops to his knees and says sorry, maybe he'll get out of this mess alive. The main character stared back, stubborn as ever, wanting to know what would happen if he just said no. The brute flashes a nasty grin and repeats the guy's question in a way that's clearly meant to mess with him. The gang boss didn't like that answer one bit. He lost his cool and rushed at the guy, ready to throw hands. Out of nowhere, the guy's fist freezes right before it lands, just hanging there in the air. Someone off-screen shouts for him to quit, and that voice cuts through the tension like a siren. The whole moment just pauses, like everyone's holding their breath to see what'll happen next. Out of nowhere, a woman wearing fancy clothes showed up. The owner of the place stood there, holding a pipe in her hand. She was striking, the kind of woman people noticed right away. Everyone around her bows their heads, showing respect. She looks around, trying to figure out who's making all the noise in her space. The gang boss spots her and gives her a nod, like he recognizes her from somewhere. It's clear they haven't seen each other for a long time. The guy suddenly turns and singles out the young man, accusing him of starting the whole fight with his crew. Right then, the woman turns around and looks straight at him. She walks up and stops right in front of him. She turns to him, wanting to know if what the other guy said was actually true. The neighbor moved in front, blocking the way. He pointed out that his master wasn't really up to speed with how things worked around here. The woman recognized him and wanted to know when he started following a master. He told her it was something that happened not too long ago. The gang boss steps up to her, looking serious. He offers to cover the cost for everything that got messed up, but it's clear he's got something he wants in return. The man looked right at and blamed her for what just happened. He made it clear that she couldn't leave, putting all the responsibility on her shoulders. Stood there, realizing she was being singled out, and now she had no choice but to stay. Sits there, focused on her food bowl. She doesn't even notice all the noise and chaos happening around her. Even with everything happening around him, he can't help but focus on how badly Lish eats at the table. The guy steps in, trying to help, but the young man isn't having it. He doesn't say anything, just turns and walks off, leaving the other guy standing there. The guy doesn't even look back at the gang boss or the woman. He's ticked off, and you can see it in the way he storms away, leaving them behind without saying a word. Nobody expected what happened next. He walked right over to and started shouting at her, telling her to stop eating the bowls. The owner's face tightens up, clearly annoyed. He can't figure out if this kid is actually calm or just doesn't care about what's going on. The woman turned to him, checking if he'd caught what the big guy just said. He nodded, letting her know he was listening. The owner lit her pipe, looking seriously at him as she made it clear she wanted him to bring over. He stares straight at her, not backing down, wondering what she'll do if he refuses. The brute just stands there, grinning in a way that makes it clear he's in control. He lets the guy know without a doubt that ending this right now wouldn't be a problem for him. The whole vibe is tense, and you can tell the brute's enjoying having the upper hand. MC grabs the guy's chin, not holding back. He grabs the giant with one hand and lifts him up like it's nothing, giving a look that pretty much says, "Go ahead and try me." The owner stands nearby, watching what's happening. She's clearly not happy that someone decided to start a fight right in front of her. And Smoke stood there, and she couldn't help but notice how her name didn't really mean much to anyone now. The friend starts freaking out, glancing around like he's hoping no one important noticed. He waves at the main guy, trying to get him to say sorry fast before things get any worse. The guy glances over his shoulder, looking pretty relaxed, and wonders if that woman is actually important or not. His friend lets him know that, yeah, she really is a night watcher. Not just any night watcher either. She's B-ranked and holds the 108th spot on the woman takes a slow drag from her pipe, then lets the smoke drift out, curling into the air around her. The smoke suddenly shifts, turning into sharp shapes that shoot straight at both of them. A smoke projectile zipped ahead, cutting through the air faster than anyone expected. The neighbor saw what was happening and called out, trying to get his attention and warn him. But the guy just kept going, totally unfazed, like he didn't think anything bad could happen. He doesn't even bother dodging. He just grabs the brute and uses his body to block the hit. After driving his weapon through the brute, the guy lets go, and the body hits the ground with a heavy thud. Her attack kept going. Suddenly, a smoky claw shot out from the brute's body. The brute lets out a burst of dark smoke that shoots right toward the main guy. He reacts fast, twisting out of the way just in time. The giant boss crashes to the ground, not moving at all, while smoke starts to roll through the whole place. The woman looked at him, confused and hurt, trying to understand why he'd acted so harshly towards someone who was supposed to be on his side. She quickly cuts him off, making it clear she doesn't want to hear anything else from him. Right then, the woman lifted her pipe and took a slow breath. She let out a big cloud of smoke that drifted through the air, spreading around her. Suddenly, the smoke starts to change shape right in front of him. Out of nowhere, Several armored warriors step out, looking ready for battle. The whole scene goes from quiet to intense in just a few seconds. He stands in front of the soldiers, looking at them straight on. His eyes stay steady and calm, not giving away any hint of fear. He jumps right over them, slipping past their moves without breaking a sweat. Something starts to glow and spread out from his body. He brings his hands together, focusing hard as he builds up a ton of energy. He lets out a strong gust of wind that knocks the soldiers off their feet and sends everyone sliding backwards. The wind hits hard, pushing people backward and making skirts flip up everywhere. The Night Watcher and her guards could barely stand, struggling to keep their balance as exhaustion started to catch up with them. The guy watches his master show off some serious skills, clearly amazed. Meanwhile, doesn't seem bothered at all. She just keeps eating, not paying much attention to what's going on. The Watcher notices how well his wind power works against the attack, but she isn't done yet. She steps forward, taking her time, making it clear she's got something else up her sleeve. The woman shouts out that a B-rank Watcher isn't just about having powers, then suddenly goes in for a strong kick. The guy grins, getting ready for the incoming blow. He focuses and his body tenses up like he's bracing himself and making his skin tougher. The Night Watcher's eyes get huge when she realizes her attack didn't do anything. He grabbed her leg and his power kicked in, making his grip solid. He starts to feel a bit embarrassed when he realizes he's holding her leg up higher than he meant to. He wonders if she's actually planning to sit there like that for a while. The woman's cheeks turn bright red as she quickly pulls her leg away, muttering under her breath and shooting him a frustrated look. She's furious, her anger boiling over as she swings a blade straight for his neck, not holding back at all. He blocks the blade just in time, but she doesn't back off. She goes right in for another attack, not giving him a break. She looks seriously mad as she swings down, putting everything she's got into trying to take him out. He uses his hardening power and blocks the hit without breaking a sweat. When the punch lands, a huge cloud of smoke bursts out. Air, always ready to pull off something new, triggers another one of his abilities, linking up his chains. Energy chains lock tight around the woman, holding her in place so she couldn't move at all. Right then, the woman's guards get ready to jump in, but she holds them back, making it clear she doesn't want them to step in just yet. After losing, the woman just looks at him, trying to figure out who this guy is and where he stands in all of this. Li Fan grinned and introduced himself, mentioning he was just a regular D rank. The Night Watcher just stands there, caught off guard. He can't help but think the government's ranking system might actually be messed up. Out of nowhere, the brute stands up and everyone turns to look at him. The guy looks up, grins, and stands his ground as the giant comes closer. He watches as the enemy's body starts to light up, and he's not sure what's going on. The sight throws him off, making him wonder what could happen next. The giant tightens his grip and throws a punch right at the guy. The punch hits him right in the stomach. Brute suddenly changes shape, his body growing massive and hulking. He ends up looking a lot like the Abomination from the Incredible Hulk, huge, rough, and pretty intimidating. The monster throws a punch that lands right on him, sending out a massive blast of force. When the friend saw what happened, he got really mad. He couldn't stand the idea of anyone messing with his master and completely lost his cool. He rushes straight at the giant, using all his strength, and lands a solid kick right to its face. The monster just stands there, totally unfazed. Kind of like the Abomination, it's got crazy resistance, so the attack doesn't even bother it. The enemy's strength caught our MC's friend off guard. It was way more than he expected, and he just froze, not sure what to do next. The creature clamped down on the guy's leg, holding tight with way more strength than anyone would expect. The creature, way stronger than anything he'd ever seen, reached out and snatched his friend by the leg. The creature grabs the boy and starts slamming him down over and over, just like that wild scene from the superhero movies. Each hit shakes the ground, leaving the boy dazed and barely able to move. From a distance, one of the guards kept an eye on him, starting to wonder if he'd been holding back his true strength. The Night Watcher steps in and lets him know that this brute isn't like the one they faced last time. Right then, the giant let out a thunderous roar. Its whole body started getting bigger, way bigger than before, and its skin couldn't handle it. Cracks started to appear all over as it stretched. The moment the armored titan broke free and started rampaging, everyone in the city freaked out. People who'd once called it a monster now just wanted to run. Streets filled with shouts and scrambling as nobody wanted to stick around and find out what would happen next. The monster looks past the guy and reaches for one of the NPCs instead. The creature grabs the guy and sinks its teeth into him. Now, anyone who got bitten by the armored titan ended up as this weird zombie, completely under its control. The guard stared, trying to figure out how a regular guy ended up as a monster. Meanwhile, the Watcher could tell right away the monster wasn't acting on its own. Someone else was pulling the strings. The woman stops for a second, her mind racing. It hits her. Maybe he's not acting on his own. Maybe someone else is calling the shots and he's just following along, not by choice. Right now, the actual enemy is somewhere in the crowd, blending in with everyone else. A zombie woman lunges at the guy while he's trapped in the wall, unable to move or fight back. Out of nowhere, someone grabs the woman by the neck and starts choking her. Grabs the creature by the neck, her grip tight and her face set with determination. She's not messing around. She's making sure it knows not to mess with her brother. The guy just grinned, looking pretty relaxed. He let her know it was totally fine to use his name, like it wasn't a big deal at all. He gives her a quick pat on the head, looking confident like he's got everything under control. She turns a bit red, caught off guard by how chill he is. Steps forward and shoves the woman back, putting some space between them. The woman, clearly not herself, suddenly rushes straight at the main character, putting all her energy into the attack. The guy's hands started to glow, and vines shot out as he got ready to fight. His assistant stood nearby, kind of annoyed, thinking he only ever brought her in when there was a battle coming up. Green energy vines suddenly shot out and wrapped around the woman, locking her in place. She tried to move, but the vines held her tight, making it impossible for her to break free. The Night Watcher wondered why the main guy hadn't finished things, but he just saw her as another person caught up in stuff she couldn't control. He reaches out his hand, getting ready to use his power on everyone around him. Right then, the vines shot out fast, wrapping around the monsters before they even had a chance to react. The guards stare at the young guy, not sure what to make of what he just did. They didn't expect someone like him to pull off something that strong. Off to the side, the Watcher can't figure out how he's using two different powers at once. That's not something you see every day, and it's got everyone paying attention. Green vines wrap around the monster, grabbing on tight. For a second, it looks like they might hold it back, but the monster pushes through and snaps free, breaking out of their grip. The main guy faces the monster again and gets ready, using his hardening power. Honestly, he'd nearly moved on and left the thing behind, but now he remembers it's still there. He throws a punch, and it hits the creature right in the face. He shakes off the hit, rubbing his jaw. That punch definitely stung more than he expected. He tries out another one of his eye powers. The guy spots some blue energy lines tangled around the creature, thanks to his special eye power. With his special vision kicking in, he starts checking out the area, trying to spot where the real enemy is hiding. His ability kicked in, pointing straight to the real troublemaker, who had been hanging out and goofing off with the other two like nothing was wrong. The zombies. He stepped forward, eyes locking onto his target. After searching for so long, he looked relieved, like he'd just spotted the person he'd been chasing all this time. He gets ready to jump. He takes an awesome jump and races straight over the crowd, blade in hand. He drops down hard, slamming his weapon into the floor and leaving a small dent where it hits. The attack slammed into the ground, then nailed the real enemy right in the face. But suddenly, the creature bursts out of the body it was hiding in, breaking free like it's desperate to get away. Right then, the enemy's body starts to melt away, making it clear it was actually a spider monster hiding in plain sight. The creature paused for a moment, clearly confused. It couldn't figure out how the main character had managed to see past its disguise. The guy taps under his eye, making it clear he's not missing a thing. He's got that look like he knows exactly what's going on, totally sure of himself. When the monster saw what was happening, it got really mad. Its face twisted in a weird way, and it started using its power. The creature fired off an energy blast that slammed the main door shut, locking everyone inside. Right after that, the blue light flashed, catching everyone's attention. The energy moves out, slowly wrapping around the people nearby. The creature starts taking over everyone, moving them around like they're just puppets on strings. People can't fight it. They're stuck, forced to do whatever the creature wants. It's like watching everyone lose control, their bodies no longer their own. People started changing as the monster's power spread. One by one, they lost control, their eyes going blank, moving in weird, stiff ways. It was clear they weren't themselves anymore. Now they wandered around like zombies, drawn by something none of them could fight. Right now, he's stuck in the middle of a huge crowd of zombies on all sides. The main character just grinned, almost like he found the whole situation funny. He looked at the monster, not bothered at all, and pointed out how using hostages didn't really count as a fair fight. Hearing that, the creature totally loses it. It looks at him, almost daring him to go through with it and take down everyone it had turned. The guy starts to get irritated. He thinks it's pretty low to hide behind regular people just to avoid getting hit. Out of nowhere, he spots something off. The way that person moves looks familiar, almost like a move he's seen before. It clicks in his mind. He knows exactly what kind of technique is being used. This showed up out of nowhere, moving fast through the chaos. Shadows started swirling around him as he took control, trapping the zombies before they could hurt anyone else. People nearby watched in relief as the danger got locked down, feeling safer with E on their side. When he saw her step in and help out, he was caught off guard. He hadn't thought she'd actually come through for him. The woman made it clear she wasn't interested in making friends or anything like that. She simply didn't want any trouble in her place. Right then, she spits out a little smoke dart, showing off like she's got things under control. It's clear she isn't worried about anything. Not even monsters would dare mess around in this place. The little smoke arrow shot out super fast, cutting through the air straight at the enemy. The dart slammed right into the creature's chest, leaving a big, nasty wound on the villain. The friends spotted them teaming up from a distance and couldn't help but get hyped. He started cheering them on, his energy catching the attention of a few people nearby. The monster, beaten up and clearly hurting, lets everyone know it's done what it came to do. It doesn't see any point in sticking around or putting itself in more danger. The creature let out a loud roar, turning to its army of zombies. It wanted to make sure no one could chase after it, so the zombies were set loose, blocking the way and getting ready to attack anyone who tried to follow. The zombies rushed at them all at once, moving fast and not holding back. The watcher starts to get annoyed, his eyes narrowing as he locks onto the monster. He's not about to let this thing escape. There's a stubborn look on his face, like he's made up his mind. He's going after it no matter what. She steps forward in her high heels, moving with confidence. She spots the zombies and gets herself ready. She raises her arm and launches a bunch of smoke darts, sending them flying through the air one after another. When the friend noticed what was happening, she got really excited. She pulled out her phone, started recording, and bragged that this was her signature move. The creature turns to run, but suddenly projectiles fly at it from nowhere, catching it off guard. The main character steps up fast and blocks the Night Watcher's darts with his blade, stopping them before they can hit anyone. The girl and her guards just stared, totally caught off guard by what he did. None of them saw it coming, and for a second, it felt like time stopped as they tried to figure out what just happened. The Night Watcher looked at him, trying to figure out whose side he was really on. It was almost like he was sizing him up, not sure if he could trust him, or if he was secretly helping the monster. The whole situation felt tense, with both of them waiting to see what the other would do next. He stands his ground, determined to head home no matter what. Nothing's going to get in his way now. The woman stands there, not really sure what's going on. She tries to figure out what he meant when he mentioned going home, her mind running through possible explanations. Had been snacking away, totally ignoring the fight going on around her. But now she couldn't help glancing over at him, her focus shifting as things started to heat up. While everyone's attention is somewhere else, the monster quietly tries to sneak off, hoping nobody catches what it's up to. The main guy moves quicker than the creature expects. In one smooth motion, he reaches out and grabs its head before it can react. The guy grabs the monster and gets ready to end things, thinking that once he takes care of it, he can finally head home. Just as he was about to finish off the creature, suddenly showed up next to him. Without hesitating, she swooped in and sucked up the creature like it was nothing, as if she was eating noodles. Even the Night Watcher, looking like a small character, seems totally lost about what's going on. Right then, he loses it and yells at his sister, desperate for her to spit out whatever weird thing she just put in her mouth. He quickly reaches out and holds her throat, stopping her from swallowing. She starts coughing, and whatever she almost swallowed comes back up. After it spits him out, the creature takes off, running as fast as it can. The turns to her guards and signals them to chase after the group. The assistant pointed out that he got pretty lucky running into the other enemy. He wondered how long it would take before they bumped into someone else like that. The little companion thought the mission would be a lot simpler if they just got rid of the so-called sister. That would make things way less complicated for everyone. After she suggests something, the main guy holds her neck a bit. He pulls back from her neck and grabs her collar instead, frustration written all over his face. It's obvious he's blaming her, acting like if it wasn't for her, he'd already be on his way home by now. Just one more monster and he would been out. She looked pretty down, her eyes dropping as she let him know he just wasn't able to do it. Right then, the neighbor walks over, acting casual. She tells the main guy to chill out, making it clear she wasn't trying to cause any trouble. He's still pretty mad, thinking about how much that monster meant to him. It's obvious he can't believe she doesn't get it. He thinks that if he takes her out now, he'll be able to go back to where he came from. After hearing that, he heads straight to Kali Tower Fid. Out of nowhere, an emergency alert blasts through the whole city, warning everyone about some weird disturbance happening close by. His little buddy points out that they have been popping up more often lately. The steps forward, looking dead set on bringing down the monster. You can tell by the way he moves that he means business. There's no hesitation. He doesn't even seem bothered by how dangerous the creature is. It's like he's already made up his mind and nothing's going to stop him. She offers a deal to the main guy. He tries to figure out what she's getting at. She tells him that if he spends a month working as her bodyguard, she'll share where the monster is hiding. The guy leans in and quietly points out that getting a job there would basically mean doing whatever she wants. The assistant looked at the situation and thought it'd be easier if he just took care of the woman now, instead of dragging things out. The young guy stands there, his face looking focused. He's deep in thought, clearly taking the situation seriously. He grabs her collar carefully, and she looks up at him, calling him her brother. He clenches his jaw, his anger obvious. Deep down, he blames her for everything that's happened. He lets her go, clearly annoyed, and turns away like he wants nothing to do with her anymore. He wanted to make sure she actually knew where the monster was, and she nodded, letting him know she did. The little assistant always figured he'd never never end up working for anyone else. He just shrugged it off, not really bothered by what was going on. In his mind, he was almost done with this mission anyway, and soon he'd be back in his own world. The woman smiles, letting him know she's into guys who don't play games. That's all he needs to hear, and just like that, things are settled between them. They turned and started walking, motioning for him to come along. He followed her, knowing she was about to lead him straight to the guy he was looking for. She stands there watching them walk away, realizing she's on her own now. She looked really down, like she'd just been left out of something important. Right at that moment, the neighbor pulls out her phone and dials her master, clearly wanting to talk to her about something. He set his jaw, looking serious, and made it clear he wanted them to chase after the other two as well. While they walk together, she mentions that something has caught her interest. She wonders how a guy that strong isn't known at all in the Hunters Association. The main guy started thinking about whether the whole ranking thing even mattered that much. Turns out, she felt the same way. But then she thinks it over and decides he really doesn't have to worry about rankings at all, not when he's already that strong. She starts to wonder if they should really let the others keep tagging along behind them. He just shrugs it off like it's nothing. The woman lets out a laugh, clearly entertained by how relaxed he is about everything. She wonders if the main character is even scared about walking into a setup. He shakes his head and folds his arms, looking pretty calm about it. The boy figures if it's a trap, he'll just deal with her himself. He raises his blade and aims it right at her neck. She starts to laugh, but there's a shaky edge to it. It's the kind of laugh people let out when they're not really sure what to do next or when things get awkward. She goes on to let him know she can be trusted when it comes to business. Right then, they showed up in front of a door. She lifts her pipe and lets out a slow stream of smoke, watching it drift into the air. She let out a slow breath, and as the smoke drifted through the air, it started to change. Right in front of her, the smoke twisted and shaped itself until it turned into a key. A key shaped out of smoke drifted straight to the lock and slid right in. The door clicked open, almost like it was waiting for this moment. The door slid open, showing a room that was just plain white everywhere you looked. She gestures for him to move forward on his own. Outside, the rest of the group keeps their distance, trailing behind without being noticed. The main guy thought the bar was hiding a bunch of secrets, but she just shrugged it off. For her, being a B-rank hunter meant this kind of stuff was pretty normal. He gets serious and tells her to quit playing games and just say where the QFU is going to show up. She explains that she's been trying to reach out to it. The merchant steps up and taps on a panel, starting some kind of communication. She started tapping away on the keyboard, her fingers moving fast as she typed in a bunch of commands on the device. Right then, a glowing portal flickers to life in front of them, almost like something straight out of a sci-fi game. The air hums with energy as the portal grows, and everyone watches, trying to figure out what's about to happen next. A hologram shaped like a man steps out of the portal. His hair looks wild, definitely not something you see every day. The hologram wanted to know why she was reaching out, and she explained that something went down at the bar. The kid hears the voice, and instantly knows it belongs to the S-rank hunter everyone talks about. When the guy in the hologram hears about the problem, he just looks annoyed. The hologram notices the main character standing there and just pauses, almost like it's trying to figure out if he really belongs there. It's not what the hologram expected, and you can tell it's a bit thrown off by seeing him. The man looks at the boy, not recognizing him. She tells him that the boy isn't just hanging around. He's actually her security, and he's a hunter too. The merchant didn't waste any time. She wanted to talk about the mission right away since she had to get back to her shop. The projection starts explaining what they have to do next. He lets the group know they need to get ready, since this mission isn't going to be easy. The government even sent 2 rank hunters, so everyone can tell things are about to get serious. He adds that if things get serious, they'll even send an S-rank hunter. The woman didn't see that coming. She can't help but wonder why there's such a huge turnout just for a regular QFU invasion. It seems like way too many people are getting involved for something that usually doesn't need this much attention. The man in the hologram looks serious, letting everyone know this invasion isn't like the others. He makes it clear that this time, they can't just brush it off. They really have to pay attention and be ready for whatever's coming. The projection lifts its hand and starts showing details about the mission. He tells them the QFU portal is about to open in the plaza, so they have to get moving right away. The hologram slowly fades away, disappearing as the transmission comes to an end. Once the call ends, the device just shuts down. The woman looked serious as she reminded the MC about the promise they made together. She wanted him to remember it and not mess things up, making it clear that this was important to her. He just shrugs, thinking that if he's not around in this world, then the contract doesn't really matter to him anymore. She looks back at him, gives a quick nod, and signals that it's time to start the mission. They both head for the exit, moving side by side as they leave. Just as they're about to leave, someone calls out and tells them to hold up. The demon's sister suddenly steps out in front of them, blocking their path. She stands there, making it clear they're not getting past her. Everyone stops in their tracks, realizing she's serious and there's no way around her. The main guy shoots her a sharp look, annoyed and waiting for an answer. He wonders if she actually wants to get herself hurt. She keeps silent, looking uneasy. She steps forward and spreads her arms out, blocking the way. She's clearly trying to protect them, making it obvious that whatever's ahead isn't safe. She steps forward and spreads her arms wide, standing in the way so no one can get past her. The merchant walked up and put a hand on the girl's shoulder to get her to notice him. Hunters had to face danger. That's just how it was, according to the merchant. She decides it's time to head out, and the main guy just nods along, ready to follow her lead. The boy watches his master and starts to feel inspired by the way he acts. Deep down, he really respects him and can't help but admire what he just saw. The guy walks over and suggests teaming up to take down but she doesn't say anything back. She can't shake the thought that if things keep heading in this direction, it's only a matter of time before something goes wrong. As the group starts to head out, the boy reaches over and grabs her arm, pulling her with him so she doesn't get left behind. Outside, the woman stands with her pipe, slowly letting the smoke drift out into the air. Outside, he takes a look at her car. The main guy checked out the car and looked pretty impressed, grinning as he took it all in. The merchant explains that once he hits B rank as a hunter, the association will hook him up with a car too. The merchant gestures for him to hop in the car, making it clear he wants him to come along. The main guy stops her and tells her to hang on for a second, which leaves her looking pretty lost. Out of nowhere, he reaches for his little scooter. He grabs it and shoves it hard into the back of the car, slamming the trunk shut. He parks his scooter and signals that they're good to head out. The woman looks at him, clearly caught off guard. She can't help but wonder what he's doing with that thing, her curiosity written all over her face. He thinks it'd be trouble if someone took it. She looked over at him, kind of surprised that a tough guy like him would even pay attention to an electric scooter. After working on it for so long, the guy's kind of gotten used to it. It just comes naturally to him now. He hops into the car and waits, glancing over to see if she's planning to take the wheel. The woman shifts in her seat, gets comfortable, and sets the car's destination for the plaza. Right then, a glowing screen pops up on the steering wheel, lighting up the inside of the car. The autopilot kicks in, taking over the controls. The main character couldn't help but notice how cool the self-driving feature was. Watching the car handle everything on its own, he thought it was pretty impressive, especially since he'd only seen stuff like this online before. Outside, the boy shows up just as the car pulls away. He watches it leave, realizing he missed whatever just happened. The young man's face tightens with frustration. He realizes he's the only one who can go after them, so he decides to handle it himself. Without waiting for anyone else, he gets ready to chase them down, determined to deal with the situation on his own. The boy let the white-haired girl know he was really quick, so she should hang on tight. He shouts, and suddenly sparks of electricity crackle all around him while she grabs onto his hair, not letting go. The young man races through the city, moving so fast he's just a blur of yellow. She grips tightly, not letting go, even though they're moving really fast. Inside the car, the glances at the mirror and catches a flash of light coming up fast behind him. She lets the main guy know that his student is on their trail. He stood there with his arms folded across his chest, looking like he was deep in thought. He lets them know that the boy isn't actually his student. The guys move through the city while stars sparkled overhead, lighting up the night sky. The car pulls up to where it's supposed to go. The guys step out of the car, and the main dude sizes up the place. Honestly, it just seems pretty normal to him, not really anything that stands out. Somebody pointed out that she didn't move fast enough. A guy in a hoodie showed up, looking like he'd been hanging around for a while. He let them know they'd been kept waiting for about 30 minutes. Not long after, a priest with glasses steps forward, making himself known. The two guys just hang out in the street, looking around as they wait. The hooded ninja isn't too happy about what's going on. He keeps grumbling under his breath, clearly annoyed by the situation. Even with his face mostly covered, you can tell he's not thrilled. Every small thing seems to get on his nerves, and he shows it, even if he tries to act cool about it. Nobody could believe they'd been kept waiting this long by just a B-rank hunter. Next to him, the priest adjusts his glasses and talks about how their god is the kind to let things slide, even when people act out of line. The main character looked at the group, thinking they might be trying to start something. Before he could do anything, the woman stopped him, telling him to stay put. The merchant told them she had found a queue hanging out in her bar. Out of nowhere, the ninja jumps from his spot. The ninja landed with a thud, thinking it couldn't just be a random chance that the queue showed up now. He reminded everyone that he'd already told them he could do the mission by himself and didn't need any B-rank guys slowing him down. The merchant hears what's going on and looks at him, trying to figure out if this guy is just here to cause problems. The masked man shot her a cold look, trying to figure out if she meant him. He's taken down loads of Q-fists before, and acts like he couldn't care less about a few weak opponents. The spirit assistant wasn't having it. He got fired up and pushed the boy to go after the smug guy, making it clear he wanted him to put the other dude in his place. The priest steps in, his face turning serious. He raises his hand, signaling for everyone to cut it out. The room goes quiet as everyone realizes he means business, and the arguments die down. He wonders if anyone else has picked up anything weird on their energy detectors. The woman glances around, then quietly lifts her dress just enough to peek at the gadget strapped to her thigh, making sure it's still in place. She stared at the number 9999 on the screen, her eyes going wide. Something about the energy didn't seem right to her. It was way off from what she expected. The hooded guy glances down at his detector, tapping it a couple of times like he doesn't trust what it's showing. He figures the thing's probably busted. There wasn't really a QFU out there that could handle the job, no matter how tough it claimed to be. Right then, a purple portal appeared up in the city sky. It gave off this creepy vibe, like something bad was about to go down. The priest notices what's happening and quickly calls everyone's attention, making sure they're all set to handle whatever comes next. The main character glances up, his face set and focused. Out of nowhere, a sharp pink light slices right through the portal and all the swirling energy around it. The hunters stood together, eyes fixed on the strange thing up in the sky. They tensed up, muscles ready, not sure what was coming next. Every little sound made them jump, and nobody wanted to look away for even a second. The merchant looks at the QFU, clearly confused and a bit uneasy. He can't figure out how something that looks so ordinary could hold that much power. Somewhere far off, the guy notices the strange energy lighting up the sky. Right away, he realizes that something big just went down. His so-called sister glanced at the portal, taking it in like she couldn't quite believe it was actually there. Walks outside. Not long after, an arm covered in a heavy iron glove comes up too. A big armored beast suddenly appeared, looking around and trying to figure out why anyone would care about a planet that seemed so weak and low on energy. The ninja thought they had really bad luck crossing paths with him, but before he could do anything, the priest stepped in and stopped him, making sure he didn't rush off by himself. Stepped forward, ready to face whatever was coming his way. Walked ahead, moving faster than usual. The ninja darts forward, calm and confident. He knows they can't touch him. He lets go of his scythe and goes straight for the armored monster, getting ready to attack. He watched closely, noticing the way the shape moved. Couldn't tell if it was more like a C, a T, or maybe a D. The armored beam lifted its sword, ready to strike. The attack lands right on the ninja. The priest watches as the monster moves way faster than he expected, even quicker than his own teammate. He's caught off guard, not sure how to react right away. The drop down to the ground and turned to face both the main guy and the merchant standing nearby. He thinks those guys aren't good enough to make him bother opening the gate. The ninja lay on the ground, hurt and struggling. He looked around, hoping someone would notice and come help him out. The hero takes off, sprinting as fast as he can toward TAT and NJ from THECRE2. S-Dome P. His mind races, focused on catching up to them, every muscle working hard as he pushes through the rush. Go stood there staring at the jumble of letters in front of him. It didn't make any sense, but he couldn't help but wonder if it was some kind of code or secret message. The confusion was real, but he kept his cool, trying to figure out what it all meant. He glanced around to see if anyone else seemed to get it, but everyone looked just as lost as he felt. Still, Go wasn't about to give up. He decided to keep looking at it, hoping something would click. Stepped forward, his eyes scanning the area for any sign of trouble. He kept his shoulders squared and his hands ready, just in case. Even though things seemed calm for now, he stayed alert, knowing that anything could happen. ESOCKALTATAPOBOR was there. Steer and GH were there too, just hanging out together. He pulls himself together, steadying his nerves, and looks at the young guy. He wants to know if this kid actually believes he's got what it takes to stand in his way. The MC flashes a confident smirk, clearly showing he's ready to take on the monster and end things himself. The armored creature grips the ITSBL-80E hard in its fist, holding on tight. TMC S. Fuller Spiel ad. There was nothing on this panel. The scene just showed a blank space, like an empty screen with only a sign reading TMC S. Fuller Spiel ad. It looked like one of those moments when someone's trying to load a video and it just stalls. Maybe it was a pause before things kicked off, or maybe someone forgot to fill this spot in. Either way, it gave off the vibe that something was about to happen, but for now, it was just quiet. There's no abuse happening at TRB Lotto Gad, and everything's officially checked and approved by FDR and GH. The priest's voice got louder as he tried to get the woman's attention. He needed her to focus and help him keep the enemy under control. The merchant leaned back and took a slow puff from her pipe. She watched the monster for a second, then let the smoke drift out, aiming it right at the creature. The smoke hurled through the air, hanging there for a moment before reaching the monster. The armored creature stands surrounded by thick smoke, trying to figure out what's going on. The priest spots his chance and quickly casts a light ability, sending a blessing toward the main character. As the smoke clears, a golden light wraps around the hero, and the white spirit could tell the boy's power was on another level. It knew the boy had the upper hand now, and pushed him to end the fight fast before anything could go wrong. The guy in armor starts getting irritated as smoke drifts around him. Oh Young gets ready to go on the offensive, setting up his move with focus. The armored monster blocked the attack from YTITSBLAD, barely even flinching. The game was moving crazy fast. No one was teaming up, and everything felt all over the place. He couldn't figure out what was going on or why things got so chaotic. Stood there not really sure what to do next. His heart was pounding as he tried to figure things out. Everything around him seemed to slow down for a second. He glanced around, hoping for some kind of clue or idea, but nothing jumped out at him. For a moment, it felt like he was the only one who didn't get what was going on, and he couldn't help but wonder if anyone else noticed how lost he was. The monster didn't bother hiding how much it looked down on anyone weaker than itself. Weak people just annoyed it, plain and simple. He gets annoyed that nobody even bothered to give him a fair one-on-one fight. The main character shot him a confident look, clearly not taking him seriously. He didn't hold back, throwing some shade at for trying to bring up fighting spirit. The armored guy clearly doesn't get what the main character just said. He stands there, puzzled, repeating the strange word back, almost like he's trying to figure out if he heard it right. Out of nowhere, purple energy bursts out from the creature's body. The priest looked lost, stumbling over his own words as he tried to make sense of what was happening. He didn't seem to have any idea what to do next, almost like he was just hoping someone else would step in and take charge. THD freezes for a second, not sure what to think. He just saw something he didn't expect, and now he's starting to realize this enemy might be way tougher than he thought. His mind races, trying to figure out what he's up against. D.Y. Welkin showed up in D. He shot a cold stare at the hero, clearly annoyed that someone he saw as beneath him was acting so confident. The monster stood there, massive and impossible to ignore. Its presence made everyone freeze for a second, hearts pounding a little faster. Some guys tried to act tough, but deep down, nobody wanted to get any closer. It was the kind of thing you'd only expect to see in games or movies, not right in front of you. He decides it's time to let the young guy see what the gate's guardian can really do. The creature charges forward and knocks G-Grow, AGA, AMON, TF, and Poe right off their feet. The impact sends them sprawling, each one struggling to brace themselves as they hit the ground hard. The force of the blow is enough to leave everyone rattled, pain flaring up as they try to get their bearings. For a second, the whole squad is scattered and thrown off balance, and it's clear the fight just got a lot tougher. Nobody really knew what ALTHP Bauer meant, but it kept popping up everywhere, catching people's attention. Some guys at school started joking about it, while others just shrugged and scrolled past. It became one of those things that everyone saw but nobody talked about too much, kind of like an inside joke the internet started without telling anyone. There was a quick introduction to Yemen Ice BHB Ryle. A and D stretches across the old land with the help of something powerful that came straight out of it. The priest looked at what was happening and realized just how dangerous the enemy's power was. He knew they couldn't let it get close or launch another attack. He makes up his mind and taps into the ultimate power that comes from the one true God. He tightens his fist, and suddenly a huge golden cross symbol glows in the air. The priest throws the cross straight at the glowing energy sphere, hoping it'll do something to stop whatever's about to happen. The merchant stares at the energy sphere, totally thrown off because it's still perfectly fine. He expected at least a crack or something, but nothing happened. It's like the attack never even touched it. He can't believe what he's seeing and starts to joke around, trying to figure out how any of this could actually happen. On the battlefield, only the winners get to walk away alive. That's the rule known as status. He smiled, showing how much he respected fighting. The white spirit hanging out next to the hero watches the guy and can tell right away, this dude just lives for fighting. The main character nods, knowing there's no other choice. No matter what happens, the monster has to go. Naming was actually better than the so-called perfect Continental International. The armored figure perks up, looking almost eager now that the one he's been waiting for is finally about to show up for a fight. He thought about it for a second, not really sure if he should go for it or just leave it alone. The main character got a message telling him to reach out to the BG and S group and connect with ER. The white spirit notices the enemy draining the hero's power and quickly tries to warn him, urging him to move back. The hero doesn't hesitate. He senses the danger right away and gets ready to react, knowing things could go downhill fast if he doesn't act now. TGMC starts pulling back, moving away from the front lines. The main character wonders if the monster thinks stealing other people's power with its domain is what it calls respect. The armored figure let everyone know that as long as it was just one-on-one, pretty much anything went. The creature flashed a creepy smile, making it clear there was still something else coming. The guy lets the main character know he's not off the hook just because they're not standing close. The creature lets HA know that time works differently in the dueling domain. Every second that passes there drains a bit more of HA's strength. Ever since the boy walked in, it was like a clock started ticking down on his life. The white spirit realized they had to wrap things up fast. Just shrugs, not looking impressed at all. He thinks there's no way the other guy can win, like it's already over before it even starts. There is no description or context in the script or JSON data, so the panel remains empty, with nothing happening at this moment. The monster refuses to give in, even after losing to Allo by TEMC. EBDSBO, there's no content in the panel, so there's nothing happening here yet. He freezes, staring after them, trying to figure out just how fast those two really are. The priest squints, struggling to keep up with how quickly they're moving. It's like everything is happening too fast for him to follow. The main character pulls out something he picked up from LYFADMITOATTAKI. He gets ready, knowing this could be the move that changes everything in the fight. You can see he's focused, like he's done this before, eyes locked on what's ahead. Every move counts now, and he's not planning on holding back. PMS CEO Kami stood with NXC. TXCR USCOLDAR. There wasn't much happening on the street when walked past the old sign that read TXCR USCOLDAR. He barely noticed it at first, just another faded thing in the background. But for some reason it stuck with him as he kept moving, like a random post you scroll past but can't forget. The letters didn't really make sense, but they felt important somehow, like they were meant for people who paid attention. Shrugged it off, hands in his pockets, and kept walking, not sure if he'd remember it tomorrow or if it would just fade away with everything else. The armored figure stops the hero's foot without any trouble and looks right at him, grinning. A string of random letters flashed through Loki's mind, like some weird code he couldn't quite figure out. It stuck with him, replaying in the background while he tried to make sense of it. The crew moved in to take control of the monster slum, a place crawling with weird stuff and danger. They were on edge but kept pushing forward, determined to face whatever was waiting for them in DYTA 4CE. Stood there, his nerves on edge. He could feel his heart pounding as he tried to steady himself, focusing on what he had to do next. Even though his thoughts raced, he knew he had to push through and keep going, hoping he'd make it to the end without messing up. Up and USC were both fired up, ready to see what S-Venom could do on Be-Isle Live. Thick vines curl around the monster, trying to hold it still. Looked right at him, totally unimpressed. Really thought that weak trick would work, but wasn't fooled for a second. Stood there not really sure what to do next. Everything felt kind of weird, almost like time had slowed down for a second. He glanced around, trying to figure out what was happening, his mind racing with questions. The main character stood up, looking at the enemy's armor. He noticed the labels, SVRI, BLB, A, and D, and realized those could actually put him in real danger. He wasn't happy at all. Things just weren't going his way. The hero lifts his sword, and blue lightning crackles around the blade. He charges up and sends a huge blast of electricity straight at the monster. The electric attack slams right into the monster. Smoke started to pour off the armored creature, and it looked pretty stuck. It tried to move, but nothing happened. The thing was clearly annoyed, almost like it was blaming the whole world for its problems. Zed fired up his Tote Power Aritui and checked out the display. The machine hummed quietly, lights blinking like it was ready for whatever came next. He glanced around, making sure no one was watching, then got to work focused and steady. Ewer stood there, eyes fixed on the guy everyone called OBSERT. He goes through each cave, taking out the most enemies with quick, clean moves. The letters TUBESDODSCP flashed across the screen in bold, blocky font. The guys stared at it, trying to figure out if it was some kind of code or maybe an online challenge. No one really knew what it meant, but it definitely got their attention. For a second, everyone just sat there, waiting for something else to happen. Cheap Ist couldn't believe what she just saw. She watched as the boy took down the enemy all by himself. It left her surprised. She hadn't expected him to pull that off alone. Out of nowhere, the guy shows up, cracking up like it's no big deal. He acts like whatever just happened is nothing compared to what his master can handle. SISO's mistake ended up putting their TA team at a disadvantage right from the start against Rail Bay's TSN and EVM. Looked around and noticed that only was out in public wearing the others just stayed in the background, their shapes barely visible. Why, who everyone knew was more monster than man, showed up at Fiji 2T, but he didn't just walk in. He arrived right at Rend when things were about to go down. ISMWY Stories B-Lad. There's a guy, probably in his late teens, who goes by B-Lad. His days are never boring, always full of weird moments and unexpected stuff. Sometimes it feels like the universe is just throwing new challenges at him for fun. He's got his own way of dealing with things, usually just dives right in, even if he isn't totally sure what's coming next. And even though things don't always go his way, he keeps pushing forward, figuring things out as he goes. That's just how B-Lad gets through life. BSC Elf stepped up, ready to take on the challenge at VU-ATHSO. He'd heard about before, but seeing it up close was something else. Even though he tried to look calm, you could tell he was thinking hard about what was coming next, wondering if he was really ready for this. The whole place had a buzz to it, like everyone was quietly sizing each other up, waiting to see who'd come out on top. Looks serious as he thinks about what's coming. For the insects, things are only going to get worse from here. The main guy yells at the monster, frustrated, wondering how he's supposed to finish his mission if the enemy just ends up taking itself out. TOCRMINPIN. The power hits them hard, leaving them unable to see anything. Stood at and made GCCIFOTEYARSODEGRUNDE, looking around as if he was trying to take in the whole scene. The place buzzed with energy, and he couldn't help but feel a little out of place. Even so, he kept his cool, blending in with the crowd while his mind raced with curiosity about what might happen next. The priest stands there, his face set and serious as he watches everything unfold. It was war, absolute brutal destruction. Out of nowhere, a massive gate with a creepy, almost evil vibe appeared. It looked like something straight out of a nightmare, and its sudden arrival made the whole place feel tense. The priest starts thinking about that scary sacrifice and questions if if it was really done just for something simple. Doubt creeps in, and he can't help but try to figure out what the real reason behind it was. He reached out and made a door appear. The ninja stared at the strange scene in front of him. He'd totally expected something to blow up, but instead, there was this weird portal. It definitely wasn't what he'd signed up for, and now he was left standing there, trying to figure out what was actually going on. T was finally back at home, ready to just chill and take a break from everything at it. The masked man glanced at the busted door and shrugged it off, acting like it didn't matter at all. Out of nowhere, a strong energy started pouring out from the gate. TTA Farhi 2T stood still, his eyes scanning the unfamiliar place around him. He could hear his own heartbeat, steady but loud in his chest. Everything felt new, almost like he'd just stepped into a video game he'd never played before. He checked out the weird markings on the wall, trying to make sense of where he was or what he was supposed to do next. Even though things didn't make much sense, he kept his cool, determined not to show any nerves. Inside the demonic gate, the energy started swirling harder and faster, almost like a storm building up. The PICD suddenly gets all tense, raising the alarm that something is about to show up. Everyone around snaps to attention, bracing themselves for whatever's coming next. There was this weird creature called. The creature suddenly halts in the air, showing itself as a strange, human-like alien. The hooded ninja freezes, caught off guard. He wonders if that small kid was really the only one who stepped out of the gate. He kept his eyes on the newcomer, his face set and not giving anything away, clearly trying to figure out what this guy was up to. The masked man looks at the power meter, trying to figure out if it's measuring how strong this being really is. The ninja grabs his, getting ready to see how strong the enemy really is. He launches a bunch of blades straight at the alien, sending them flying through the air. The alien just lifts a finger, and the blades freeze in midair like someone hit pause on a video. It doesn't even look hard for him. He's totally calm while everyone else is freaking out. He taps though with just one finger, and they crumble into dust right in front of everyone. Out of nowhere, a streak of purple energy flashes across the battlefield, moving so fast that no one can react in time. The main character notices right away that this last monster looks way tougher and stands out from the others. TE Anon points out that sticking together is the best move right now, at least until backup shows up. TSD calls out to the ninja, getting everyone ready for the fight. The priest glances over his shoulder, confused, and notices that his companion isn't reacting at all. The masked ninja just stands there completely still. He clearly hadn't seen this coming. It all ended so quickly that we're grown by Tianotot. The raises his voice, making it clear to everyone that playing it safe isn't an option. If anyone wants to make it out of this, they'll have to give it their all and not hold back. He hurried to get his stuff together, moving fast like his mom told him to. It was time to get ready. He knew he wasn't strong enough to take on that monster right now. Just thinking about it made him realize how far he had to go. After that, he points out that the main character should go join the rest of the hunters. Right then, the priest bows his head and starts praying, quietly calling out for help from the true god he believes in. The three guys joined forces, getting ready for whatever was coming next. Up above, the alien just glared at them, clearly not impressed and looking down on their efforts. The main guy comes up with a plan to grab some clothes. He signals to his friends, hoping they can keep the enemy busy while he sneaks off to handle it. The priest looked over at the mysterious figure, trying to figure out who or what it was and what it was doing there. The main character slips into the shadows, using his invisibility move to get closer without anyone noticing. The alien looks at the group and lets them know he's open to answering whatever questions they have, even though they're just humans and he's, well, not. He lets everyone know that every single monster, the enemies they fought in the past, were always level 1. Whenever enough of them get taken down, that's when they send out a level 2 guardian. The alien kept talking, making it clear that if the Guardian lost, that would mean the planet was actually worth something. Chase, one of the SRPRSATK crew, stood with the others, ready for whatever was coming next. Out of nowhere, red tentacles shot up from the ground, moving fast and wild. Implore tried to bow, but the tentacles caught everyone off guard, changing the whole vibe in an instant. The boy didn't see it coming. Suddenly, sharp tentacles shot out and stabbed right into him. The main character, hurt and confused, tried to figure out how the enemy had tracked him down. Behind him, the white spirit called out, trying to get his attention. Locus was on standby, ready to jump in if anyone needed him. The USB sat right there, its little light blinking. It looked kind of important, like something you'd want to keep safe or maybe plug in just to see what's on it. It was the kind of thing that could totally change someone's day, depending on what was inside. Stood there taking a slow, shaky breath. The air felt weirdly heavy, almost like it was pressing down on him. He tried to focus, listening to the quiet around him, but his mind kept wandering. Each second seemed to stretch out, making him more aware of the tension building in his chest. The alien, standing tall and confident, introduces himself as the judge of the universe. He gives his name, rattling off a long string of words. Up in the sky, a swarm of monsters suddenly shows up. The main character spots them and can't help but stare, trying to figure out what's going on. TMC started to wonder if this was the real reason and couldn't just wipe out the monsters. The question lingered in his mind as he watched them, trying to figure out what was really stopping them. The hero got pretty worked up, frustrated that no one told him how tough the creatures would be. The white spirit just brushed it off, acting like the details didn't matter much. To the spirit, the only thing that really counted was finishing the mission, no matter what monsters showed up. Stood with the COA and blood dripped down his side, but the guy knew there was just one monster left to finish the job. He pushed through the pain, focused on the goal, and tried to ignore how rough he felt. Almost there, just one more to go. The floating alien hovers in the air, making it clear that it's done listening to everyone talk. The judge finally announced that everyone had to go to the TUOSUD CARCR's freeze, completely caught off guard. The priests started freaking out, realizing things were way out of their league. It was obvious he knew they just couldn't handle what was happening right now. Just let everyone know she had already given it a shot. He kept reaching out to headquarters, hoping someone would finally answer. The alien gave the signal, and its monsters charged straight at the hunters, showing no hesitation. The team got ready to go all in, pushing everything they had into the fight, no holding back. Their energy was cranked up, and everyone was bracing themselves for whatever was coming next. The priest brings his hands together, focusing for a moment. A soft light surrounds him as he calls on some higher power, making himself stronger and ready for whatever's coming next. He rushes straight at the monster the judge just brought out, not hesitating for a second. Even though the thing looks pretty terrifying, he stands his ground and fights, doing his best to hold his own. Key OESERP handed something important to DRCLA. The day started out like any other for he walked through the city, his mind on school and the usual stuff on his plate. But something felt a little off, like the air was heavier or the people around him were quieter than usual. He noticed the way everyone glanced over their shoulders, careful and alert. As he kept moving, couldn't shake the sense that something big was about to happen, something that might change things for him and everyone else in. While the fight went on, the alien just watched, kind of unimpressed. He looked at the humans going at it and thought they were pretty disappointing. Out of nowhere, the judge spots something weird going on in the middle of all the fighting. He spots TESO standing with the humans and can't help but wonder what she's doing on their side. It doesn't make sense to him, and he's left trying to figure out what's going on, and stood there, both looking a bit unsure of what to do next. The air felt kind of tense, like nobody wanted to make the first move. They glanced around, trying to figure out what was really going on, but neither said a word. It was one of those moments where you could tell everyone was just waiting for something to happen. The judge didn't care about her excuse. He just focused on how what she did made their whole group look bad. The alien looked at the girl and gave her a strange order, telling her to herd people like sheep. He mentioned a bunch of odd names, the FVRA Rally SESS, Bo, and GY. The girl didn't really get what he meant, but his words stuck in her mind, making her wonder what she was supposed to do next. A strange purple energy filled the air. The explosion is what really mattered here. Looked at his little sister, not really expecting what happened next. She totally surprised him. The main character steps out from the smoke, looking more determined than before. He's clearly made up his mind about something big, and it shows in the way he stands. The hero steps up, standing between the girl and whatever danger's coming their way. His sword is ready, his grip tight. He's not letting anything get past him. The girl behind him isn't just anyone, she's the Omen, and people always seem to have strong opinions about her, good or bad. But right now, none of that matters to the hero. He's focused, ready to do whatever it takes to keep her safe. He yells out, pumped up, that taking down this alien will mark his 10,000th win, just the last step he needs to finish his mission. The judge raises his eyebrows, caught off guard by how bold the MC is acting. He quickly gets ready to strike back, not wasting any time. Tower starts to panic, trying to warn the main character to watch out. OR stays cool and sure of himself, even with danger right in front of him. TMCIE, FSLE, and Ted LK stood side by side, both looking a little tense. They weren't sure what was coming next, but neither wanted to show any nerves. Even though things felt uncertain, they stayed close, ready to face whatever was about to happen together. Hal D, DLRE, BPEP, OFFBHE, and JGE all stood together, their names echoing in the air like team handles ready for action. Each one looked around, trying to size up the group, sizing up who might have their back and who might be trouble. The energy between them felt tense, almost like the seconds before a game starts. Even though no one said anything, everyone could tell this was just the beginning of something big, and nobody wanted to be the first to mess up. A stood frozen, not sure what to do next. His heart beat faster, and he glanced around, hoping nobody noticed the awkward moment. The situation hung in the air, making him feel uneasy, but he tried to play it cool, acting like nothing happened. TMNC DASN was still going strong, even out in Syria. No matter where things took him, he kept doing his thing, never really slowing down. Was known by everyone as the YRISE ZTUX tenant over at the TRUSPOR building. It was just another regular day in, but something about it felt lighter than usual. The crew from ELPS MISDAR were all hanging out, taking it easy and just enjoying the good vibes. Everyone seemed pretty happy, like they didn't have a care in the world. The place was buzzing with laughter, and even the usual troublemakers were just goofing off, not causing any real problems. It was the kind of day you'd want to capture on your phone and post online, just to remember how chill everything was. And Chris, both teenagers, hung out at TMC. IC stood there looking at the sign that read TEMC. It didn't really make sense to him, but he kept staring, trying to figure out what it could mean. The place had this strange vibe, like it was hiding something important. Even though he didn't get it, he couldn't help but feel pulled in, as if there was something waiting for him on the other side. Looked up and said the name of the star, SHMNINERARMS. TMNCA stood a little below the other guys, looking up to her. Stood there not really sure what to do next. Everything around him felt a bit off, like he'd missed something important. He glanced around, hoping for some clue, but nothing seemed to make sense. The judge's face tightened up, clearly annoyed. He couldn't believe that someone who'd been labeled a traitor would even dare look him in the eye like that. The purple guy was fed up. He glared at everyone, and without wasting a second, sent his monsters charging in. It was clear he wanted his creatures to take out every last person there. The screen glitched and flashed with the words, grabbing his attention. He leaned in, trying to figure out what the weird message meant, but it just left him confused. For a second, he wondered if his computer was busted, or if it was just some random error. Either way, it threw him off, making him pause whatever he was doing. The boy spots trouble and immediately shouts to warn her, hoping she'll notice before it's too late. The hunters who were left made up their minds to look out for the main guy and the girl, no matter what happened. The priest steps up, and suddenly everyone on his side start to feel stronger, like they just got a serious energy boost. Mist rolled across the battlefield, making it hard to see. The aliens, creatures started looking around, clearly lost and unsure of where to go. The priest quickly called out to his friend, urging him to get out while he still could. The judge glanced over at the level 1 monsters and couldn't help but laugh a little. He clearly thought they were pointless, not worth anyone's time. The alien, looking worn out and frustrated, finally makes up his mind to finish things. He starts charging up a huge energy blast, the kind that makes everyone watching hold their breath. Nobody really knew what TAGN and GSD-CDERs meant, but it was clear this guy stood out. He walked through the towers, moving like he owned the place, while everyone else just tried to keep up. Even the toughest dudes around took notice. He didn't bother with the usual nerves most people had. He just acted like everything was normal, even when it was. The boy sees what's coming and knows there's no way to get out of the way. Panic hits him, and he just lets out a desperate yell. Something strange was going on. A mysterious appeared out of nowhere. The judge's attack stopped in its tracks, frozen still like time just hit pause. The priest finally lets out a breath he's been holding, looking way more relaxed now. He lifts his arms, clearly pumped, because backup from headquarters has just shown up. The black-haired woman spots the technique right away. She instantly knows who's behind it. There's no question in her mind. A woman in heavy armor stepped into view. People started calling her the Ice Queen. After spotting an S-rank hunter, the boy lights up with excitement. He's so pumped that he jokes to himself about finally being able to chill out, like this moment made his whole day. His friend didn't mess around. He smacked him on the arm and made it clear that taking a break would have to wait until they were both out of there. The Ice Queen nodded at them, showing she was grateful for what they'd done. She didn't waste any time, though, and let them know they needed to leave right away. No one argued. They could tell it was time to go. The alien judge stares at the newcomer, his face all serious and looking down on him, like he doesn't think much of what he sees. He grinned as the judge made it clear. Being an S-rank hunter pretty much meant you were at the top, stronger than anyone else out there. Always showed up, handling tough stuff at the hospital as an RN and TE. Even when things got busy, she kept her cool and did what needed to be done. The alien suddenly goes on the offensive, hitting hard. He clearly wants to test her abilities and see what she's got. Quickly calls up huge ice crystals, putting them between herself and whatever's coming at her. When the two powers crashed into each other, the whole battlefield lit up with a huge blast. Dirt and debris shot everywhere, and for a second everything was just chaos. Leaned out the window and called out, telling the MC to hurry up or they'd take off without him. The priest steps forward and puts his hand on the MC. Light glows around them and the cuts and bruises on the MC start to fade. The pain eases up, and it's clear the priest's power is real. The MC sits up, breathing easier, grateful for the help. TE watches as the healing starts to work, his mind racing with concern. He can't help but wonder if everything will turn out okay. The uncertainty keeps him on edge, and he tries to keep it together as he waits to see what happens next. He patches up the wound as best as he can, then gives a quick nod to the MCSS in appreciation. Priest starts to get anxious, unsure if the elite hunter is strong enough to take on the enemy. The other hunter tries to keep things chill, reminding him that S-rank hunters never lose. D shows badly hurt, barely holding on, Y stands nearby, tense and watching over her. Is there too, the situation looking rough for everyone. The alien judge looked at the hunter and acted like he wasn't impressed at all. To him, being the strongest person on the whole planet just didn't matter. The purple being soon notices that managed to slip away using the ice. She made an ice clone to trick the enemy, giving herself a chance to slip away without being noticed. The villain couldn't figure out how she got away, especially since Spite was hurt so badly. He thinks that even though she's strong, she's still nothing compared to him, like she's barely worth his attention. The judge spoke next. He calls out his whole crew of monsters, ready to wipe out the planet. There were a bunch of weird-looking aliens. The monsters started showing up, getting ready to launch a huge attack. One of the generals couldn't hold back his anger. He thought it was embarrassing that these weak creatures were getting away right in front of everyone. The alien judge turns toward a portal, spotting someone's shadowy outline just beyond it. He spots the person leading his army and instantly recognizes them. The realization catches him off guard, and for a second he just stands there trying to process what's happening. OBCR was hanging out at. Dual YTI stood there looking unsure. He glanced around, trying to figure out what to do next. It was one of those moments when nothing made sense, and he just waited, hoping things would become clearer. Integrity. The priest grips the wheel and smoothly pulls off a sharp turn, bringing the car to a sudden stop. His hands are steady, and he barely looks fazed by the whole thing, like he's done this 100 times before. The kid seemed pretty impressed with the driver, probably thinking he handled things well. But the girl, who acted almost like a girlfriend, wasn't having it. She gave them both a hard time for goofing off. She tells the group they should let headquarters know about the danger right away. She suddenly remembers how badly hurt the main guy is, and knows he needs help right away. Someone's lying in the back seat, knocked out cold and covered in blood. Calls out to him, hoping to get his attention, but HE just stays quiet, not reacting at all. He heads over to P, passing along a message from ACAPA's ROSTFSC. Woke up already irritated. His body still hurt from before, and he couldn't help but wonder why she'd hit him when he was clearly not at his best. Team MC looks around and suddenly notices he's not in the car anymore. Everyone gets confused, trying to figure out what just happened and where he could have gone. He starts to question if everything that happened was just in his head, unsure if the attack even happened or if he just imagined it. Tyne admits to himself that he's dying. The alien really did attack him, no denying it now. She tells him the judge stabbed him right in the chest, and honestly, without a heart, there's no way anyone should still be alive. The main character looks around at all the monsters he's taken down. Even though he's survived so much, he can't help but think his own end might be right around the corner. The little assistant just smiled, letting him know the system never actually said he was about to expire. TMC starts to feel a bit more positive and wonders if there's some kind of power out there that could help him out of this mess. The creature yells out, annoyed that the powers he grabbed from those level 1 monsters aren't doing him any good. But then she lets him know that the system can do more than just absorb abilities. The assistant lets him know that the system's main job is to turn energy into something useful. She took all the powers he'd collected and turned them into one solid energy source. The creature reached out and gave the energy core to the main character, letting him know it was meant for his body. The core sinks into HS chest, taking the place where his heart used to be. Can tell something's changed. There's this energy running through him, making him feel way stronger than he's ever been. He wonders if the energy could ever run out, and the assistant nods, letting him know it's possible. The little creature just wanted to give him a heads up about that. She tells him that once the energy is gone, his body just won't work anymore. The alien judge kept his eyes on Tina EL Wirefrom, watching her closely. He turns around, looking pretty annoyed, making it clear he doesn't want help from anyone. Right then, a huge, ripped guy shows up out of nowhere. He doesn't waste any time letting them know they're both level F. He realized that both sides matched up, made it clear he wasn't planning to explain himself. He didn't owe anyone an explanation, and he wasn't about to give one. TAGG let everyone know he was the one in charge, making it clear he expected the others to listen and not push back. The giant monster made it clear he didn't care about leading the army. THJG wanted to know what he was actually after. The giant creature glared, making it clear that the former general used to work under him. He looked furious and determined, vowing to go after whoever took the general out. The muscular guy pointed at TAT, the judge, making it clear he was going after the ones responsible. THJDGE tries to warn that messing with things will ruin their boss's plans, but the giant just ignores him and goes ahead anyway. There's no dialogue in this panel. AIT is the main character in TNTOY. The boy looked pretty down, thinking their master might not show up to help. He glanced over at, hoping for some reassurance, but deep down, he wasn't expecting much. The priest pulls out his phone, checking the screen. Nothing works. The signal's totally dead. Looks like the monsters messed with the city's network. The guy started to panic, realizing there wasn't much left to do except sit tight and hope things didn't get worse. The TSDMC war finally ended, There was quiet now, and everyone just stood there, catching their breath. Some were relieved, others just looked tired, but you could tell they all felt the weight of what had just happened. The whole place seemed different, almost like time had slowed down right after the chaos. No one said much, they just took it all in, letting the reality sink in that the war was really over. In his head, the main guy can't help but think he's done for once his energy is gone. He matched up perfectly with Tina Weiss OTS. She lets him know that the power he just got won't stick around forever. It's only good for 5 days. TGS Eistan wanted to know what Chain was thinking about doing now that he didn't have much time left. THEMC knows he just can't do it. He knows he can't just stand around. There are still more monsters out there, and if he wants to keep moving forward, he has to take them down fast. The little assistant just shakes his head, clearly clueless about any updates to the system. She lets him know that this energy could actually boost the powers he already has. He can't believe what he's hearing. The ASESEN tells him he could boost his strength by 10,000 times. He figures out that the more power he uses, the shorter his life will be. The main character's eyes narrowed with focus. He knew what he had to do. Hunting monsters wasn't just some wild idea for him. Out here, it was the only way to make it another day. Stood there gripping the main character's hand. He looked nervous, like he wasn't sure what was about to happen next. The guy looked over, trying to figure out what was going on. The girl let him know that the main character had just moved. Everyone crowds around the stretcher, curious and anxious to find out what's going on. The core inside the MCS's chest started to throb, its shape shifting right before everyone's eyes. Everything happened fast. The core settled down and the main character opened his eyes. Now his chest beat with a brand new heart, and his arm looked different, stronger, rougher, more like a monster's than a human's. The priest couldn't figure out how the guy's heart managed to heal itself. Meanwhile, the woman just looked at him, thinking he was hiding a lot more than he let on. S's eyes filled with tears as everything hit him at once. He couldn't help it. He just pulled the other guy in for a tight hug, finally letting himself relax. All the stress and fear melted away for a second, and he just held on, not caring who saw. THEMC pushed himself upright on the stretcher and wrapped his arms around his sister. He tried to calm her down, wanting her to relax. The boy walked over, looking cheerful, but the MC didn't seem up for it. Instead, he used his monster arm to push the boy back, keeping some distance between them. Out of nowhere, about 100 more S4 Ram Uds ID showed up, all looking like they really needed some help. A guy bursts into the room, out of breath, and lets everyone know the monsters are getting close. In the blink of an eye, sharp claws cut straight through the hunter's chest. The creature pulled back its claw, and the man dropped to the ground. All around him, monsters started showing up, their army closing in. Monsters burst into the room, catching everyone off guard. The priest tapped his glasses, and right away, something changed in his face. He let everyone know the situation wasn't over yet. More trouble was headed their way. He glanced at his glasses display, spotting the energy detector tracking monsters nearby. The numbers started climbing, and that's when he realized some of the creatures out there were way tougher than the rest. The woman noticed the detector and pointed it out, while the priest explained that everyone at the base was already aware of the invasion. Right then, one of the creatures suddenly rushed at the priest, moving way faster than anyone expected. The monster slams its fist down, smashing the ground and leaving a huge crater where it hit. The priest brings his hands together, getting ready to pull off one of his unique moves. He sends out a bunch of bright beams that hit the monsters straight on. Bright energy beams shoot out and tear through the enemies, taking down a bunch of them all at once. Else TXCR Urest, one of the monsters doesn't even care about the barrier. It just moves around and goes straight for HIM from the side. The priest starts to get uneasy when he notices the monster isn't bothered at all by his holy light. Before the monster could make a move toward, a sudden beam of energy blasted into its side, stopping it in its tracks. GFROM-T. The boy steps forward, not wanting to just watch from the sidelines. The priest seems pretty relieved to have him around, actually looking glad that someone got his back. The young man puts his hands together, focusing hard. He starts building up but this time, he's aiming for something way bigger, charging it up down his forearm. He blasts a huge beam of energy straight at the monster's head. The attack lands right on target. At the same time, the woman lets the boy know he needs to watch out, since the enemy might strike at any moment. A guy swings a huge sword at GSDTT, aiming right for him. The monster's lips curled into a creepy grin, shadows twisting around its face as it moved closer. The room felt darker, like the light itself was scared to stick around. The priest shows up most often in D and T MFFMT, especially when it comes to DATAK. The boy nodded, grateful for the help. The priest looked at him, a little serious, and reminded him to watch out next time. From far away, the main character stands back and watches his friends locked in battle with a whole army of monsters. He can see the chaos as his friends struggle, dodging attacks and swinging weapons, trying to hold their ground. Even though he's not in the middle of it, he feels every hit and close call, wishing he could jump in and help. It's tough just standing there, seeing his friends push themselves against something so intense. He turned to the assistant, hoping she could figure out what level the monster was. She lets him know she's got it covered. Honestly, she thinks thinks he's kind of doubting her skills, and it stings a bit. Sorry, but the provided text does not contain a story or context to rewrite. Please provide a script or story content for editing. Once again, the MC's eye lights up, that same way it did before. Now he's able to check how strong each monster is. He thinks about trying to figure out the reason behind everything. The assistant explains that it all comes down to the energy they get from beating them. The assistant goes on to say that monsters get sorted out based on how much energy they have. The main character knows that when you beat a level 1 monster, you get anywhere from 1 to 9 energy points. Couldn't help but notice his points were stuck at 9,000. He wondered what was up with that. The assistant just shrugged it off, saying it was just how things worked out. The box sat there waiting. He hesitated for a second, heart thumping, then reached out and pulled the lid open. He changes his monster arm, and suddenly it turns into a sword. The main character walks over to his sister. He looks tired, like he's got a lot on his mind, and barely glances at her before turning away. Steps in suddenly, grabbing his arm to stop him from leaving. The girl starts to ask about his injuries, but he doesn't let her finish. He shuts her down right away, making it clear he doesn't want to talk about it. He decides he needs to recharge, so he plans to go after the monsters hanging around the room. East turns to WN, wanting to know which enemies are up next. He decides to take on the fire monster first. The fire creature closed in on the main character's sister, ready to go after her. The text doesn't seem to make sense, so for this panel, nothing really happens. The scene just hangs in the air, like someone hit pause. It's one of those moments where everything stands still, and nobody's really sure what to expect next. The main character's body suddenly splits in half right in front of his sister. She just stands there, wide-eyed, completely caught off guard by what she's seeing. The monster's body starts to melt away, slowly breaking down until there's nothing left. He spots more activity in the assistant BAS, Abotai RSV stem. He reaches out and the creature's energy flows into him. Like a rush of power he can barely control. The main character gives a small smile, thinking about how he still has to gather more energy if he wants to make it through. He figured it was finally time to try out the new power he just picked up. Steps up and sends a huge blast of fire straight at the monster army. Sat at the table eyeing the plate in front of him. He picked up his fork and started eating the beef, not really sure what to expect from the new dish. The flavors hit him all at once, kind of different but not bad. He kept eating, getting used to the taste bite by bite, glancing around to see if anyone else was thinking the same thing. Even though it was something new, decided he actually liked it, and soon he was focused on finishing every last piece. HT didn't see this coming. He couldn't help but wonder if the injuries were just for show. Out of nowhere, the main character starts coughing up blood, and his monster arm begins throbbing in a weird way. The guy sees this happen and quickly steps closer, clearly concerned about his master. THEMC lets everyone know that pulling off this attack took a ton out of him. He's almost completely drained, and it's clear he barely made it through in one piece. Was a girl, but not just any girl. She was actually a deity. There's no real action or dialogue happening here. The panel just shows the words HEETMTOEBONTCILAN. It looks like a title or maybe some kind of code, something that might mean more to the people in the story. For now, it's just sitting there, kind of mysterious, setting the stage for whatever comes next. The panel is empty. Two black shapes stood out. The JNINFO FTE was now up for everyone to check out through the viewers' videos. With that, the crew wrapped things up, getting ready to sign off until the next episode. Everyone waved goodbye, the screen filling with a bunch of cheerful farewells as the video came to an end. Walked in, his mind racing with thoughts. The hero stands there, holding close in his arms. The main guy turned to the dude, making it clear he wanted him to keep an eye on her. Blood streaked across his face, and his eyes burned with anger as he turned to face whatever was coming at him. Right in front of him, there's this massive spider monster, and it's level 180. The guy takes on the job of looking out for. He even calls her master, showing he's serious about sticking by her side. Changed form, his sword lit up with fire. He started moving forward, taking steady steps. He runs straight at the spider monster, yelling, ready to take it down. The monster reacts fast, launching a burst of fire right back. The creature just laughs him off, making it clear he doesn't think there's any way the kid can land a hit. The monster takes off in a flash, moving way faster than anyone could chase. It doesn't just leave, though. It makes sure to mess with the main character on the way out, almost like it's having fun with the whole situation. Out of nowhere, a bunch of strange creatures showed up and started going after him. The spider monster slipped away, and that really set him off. He couldn't believe it got away and just wanted people to move aside so he could do something about it. You could see how fired up he was. Nothing else mattered right then. He jumps right onto the monsters. The hero jumped in and landed a clean hit right on the monster's face, knocking it back. He charges straight into the swarm of monsters, his sword blazing with fire as he cuts them down one after another. Watchgirl couldn't believe what the guy was doing. She looked at him, clearly annoyed and a bit freaked out, wondering why he'd try to take on the monster alone. The priest could tell the main character was totally caught up in anger. It was obvious he wasn't thinking clearly at all. There's really nothing left for them to do except try to make some space so he can get through. The group worked together, combining their skills to to clear a way forward. The path ahead is wide open, so the guy doesn't hesitate. He just goes for it, moving fast and not looking back. His partner notices how close he's gotten to. That's probably why he lost his cool when she got hurt. His little assistant could tell something was off, and let him know it seemed like an obvious setup. He really didn't want his boss to walk right into it. He acts like he doesn't care at all, and just focuses on getting that monster's energy. He finally reaches the guy he's been following. The hero stood there, his eyes steady and focused. He figured that the monster wouldn't just stop for no reason. Maybe it actually wanted someone to defeat it. That thought kept him moving forward, ready to face whatever came next. The MC charges ahead, blade in hand, ready for whatever comes next. The spider creature moves out of the way just before the first attack lands. He quickly turns around and heads the other way. He goes all out, throwing punch after punch, but the monster dodges every single move, staying just out of reach. His partner lets him know the enemy isn't just your average weakling. This one is a level 3, which means it's way tougher, like 100 times stronger than the level 1 monsters they usually run into. He's already gone up against the enemy's strength, but he's not scared at all. The spider monster looked pretty unimpressed with everything going on. He acted like all of this was just a waste of his time, and made it clear he didn't need any help dealing with the kid. The creature suddenly starts pulling in air, making everything around it feel tense and uneasy. The villain suddenly launches a blast of air straight at the main character. The spider starts laughing, its voice sounding sharp and cruel. The spider crept right up to the main character and snapped its fingers, like it was trying to get his attention or show off. An explosion suddenly bursts out. The spider drops down and lands smoothly. He's flat on the ground, not moving much after getting hit straight on by the blast. The spider monster starts making its way over to where the explosion just happened, each step slow and steady. The creature stomps down and plants its foot right on the hero's face. The monster flashes a nasty grin, clearly enjoying himself. He looks down at the humans, acting like they're nothing and calling them weak. Just then, the guy reaches out and grabs the enemy's foot. He realized there was no point in holding back now, so he went all in, ready to use everything he had left. He moves fast and lands a hit right on the protagonist's arm. The spider monster quickly jumped back and took off. The hero looks at the enemy, sizing him up. He knows this guy is way stronger, maybe even out of his league, but he doesn't back down. Instead, he decides to push himself even harder, ready to give everything he's got, way more than he ever has before. For him, giving up isn't even an option. He powers up, pulling from his own strength to take on the monster. He gathers his strength and gets ready to go after the monster. The creature loses it and looks like it's about to go off on him, ready to blow him away. The spider monster locks onto the main character and starts launching fireballs at him, one after another. A huge blast of fire shoots straight at the main character, moving fast and looking dangerous. He ends up trapped right in the middle of the spider's burning attack. Even while the fire scorches his skin, he pushes forward, charging straight through the flames. He doesn't hesitate. This is his chance, and he goes for it, ready to land a hit no matter what it takes. The hit connects right in the middle of the spider monster, cutting it clean in two like it was nothing. The blast keeps going, tearing through anything that gets in the way. The attack hits with so much force that it cuts right through the building standing behind the monster. The eye built into his bionic arm lights up, displaying his current score 75 points. He'd put everything he had into getting back at the people who messed with his sister. His partner could tell he was drained. He'd pushed himself way too hard to make things right for her. Someone in the crowd started to clap, catching everyone's attention. No one really knew who it was, but the sound cut through the buzz in the room and made people curious. A giant orc showed up, clearly noticing that the main guy had just taken down one of his underlings. The orc looked right at him, sizing him up, like he was trying to figure out what kind of threat he was dealing with. The whole mood changed, the air got heavier, and it was obvious that things were about to get a lot more intense. His partner told him to watch out for the new enemy. This monster was a level 5, and its power level was way higher than anything they'd faced, sitting at 201,598. The giant orc let everyone know that the spider monster wasn't even close to his strongest minion. In fact, it was the weakest one he had. Even though the spider monster worked for him, he couldn't help but feel annoyed that it got taken out. The orc lets out this wild, bright aura that lights up the area. He looks right at the boy, making it clear things are about to get serious. The tension ramps up. It's obvious the orc is challenging him, almost daring him to see if he's ready for whatever's coming next. The pressure starts to get to him, weighing down on his shoulders. It's like everything is piling up all at once, making it tough for him to breathe. He tries to keep calm, but deep down, he can't shake off how heavy everything feels right now. He thinks back to the time he lost to that enemy with all the tentacles. He puts his hand on his chest and tries to focus, channeling all his energy. He suddenly gets fired up, determined not to mess up again. He pushes himself hard, burning through his energy like there's no tomorrow. At that moment, he lets loose with his flame attack, but this time it's way stronger than before, like he's leveled up out of nowhere. The fire surges out of him, way more intense than anyone expected. He swings at landing a solid hit. He slams his fist, blazing with fire, right into the creature's back. The orc barely even tries. He just reaches out and stops the hero's sword with 2 fingers, misses like it's nothing. He can't believe how fast his move got blocked. 1 second he thought he had it, and the next, he's just standing there, realizing that nothing went as planned. The giant orc reacts fast, grabbing the main guy and smashing him down onto the ground. He's on the ground now, coughing up blood. His partner looked over, curious if he was really planning to take it easy against a level 5 enemy. He pulls his arm back, getting ready to throw another punch. The little assistant panicked, waving his arms to warn him about the incoming attack. He puts his hand on his chest and starts drawing out his energy again. His energy kept falling fast, dropping lower with every second. The orc swings hard, landing a punch that sends the main guy flying. The impact is wild, blasting out with a loud boom and kicking up dust and debris everywhere. The orc swings hard, and his fist slams right into the main character's monster arm. Somehow, the protagonist got his arms up just in time to stop the orc's punch. His arm started to change shape right in front of him, catching him off guard. The main guy spots his chance and quickly flips backward, putting some space between himself and whatever's coming at him. He pulls off a quick flip and sticks the landing. He burned through 500 energy points just to block the hit, and even then it was close. He almost didn't make it. The little assistant lets him know the orc doesn't have any special moves, and that he's got a good chance to win. The orc didn't expect the kid to take his punch like that. He looked at him, kind of thrown off, not sure how the boy was still standing after that hit. The monster bragged about how strong he was and rushed at them again, looking ready to crush anything in his way. The guy moves faster than anyone expected, and lands a solid punch right on the hero's face. The hit lands hard, and the main guy gets thrown backward through the air. Out of nowhere, the main guy gets this uneasy feeling. He glances around and realizes he can't spot the enemy anywhere. It's like they just disappeared, and now he's on edge, trying to figure out what's going on. Right then, huge ice pillars shot up from the ground, surrounding the monster and cutting off any way out. Right then, a bunch of other monsters close by get frozen stiff, like someone hit pause on them. The hero's friends spot the attack and try to figure out what's going on. They look confused, trying to piece together what just happened right in front of them. The guy spots something familiar about what just happened. He remembers skills and starts to think she might be behind it. The giant orc breaks out of the ice and jumps back, putting some distance between himself and the others. He just laughed off the attack, clearly not impressed. It was obvious he didn't think a weak sneak move like that would ever land on him. Shows up and starts throwing more ice shots at the orcs. The monster just stood there, totally unfazed by everything being thrown at it. No matter what the guys tried, nothing seemed to bother it at all. The orc's face twisted in anger as he glared at them. He wasn't done yet. There was still something else he wanted to bring up. The guy warns the main character not to bother with any sneaky moves, making it clear that he's not easy to fool. The hit sends the main character crashing to the ground once more. His partner thinks he's not ready to take on a level 5 monster. The hero stands there with a confident grin, looking like he knows exactly what's going on with the enemy's powers. Out of nowhere, the main guy hears his sister calling his name. Sorry, there is no script text in the provided JSON data to rewrite. Please provide the original script or text to be rewritten. The guy looked over, curious, and wanted to know if the hero handled all the monsters on his own. But the hero just shook his head and let him know the Ice Queen took care of it. His sister glanced over at him and immediately saw the fresh scrapes on his arm. It was obvious he'd been in trouble again, and she couldn't help but sigh. He thinks back to what happened and remembers her saying she's had it rougher before. He checks her back expecting to see a wound, but there's nothing. The skin is clear, no cuts or marks at all. It leaves him confused, staring for a second, trying to figure out if he missed something. Once he saw that she was already better, he started thinking about how different she really was. He knew he couldn't just act like she was any regular person anymore. He's always looking out for her, making sure she's okay, and stepping in when she needs help, kind of like how an older brother would. It's clear to everyone around them that he genuinely cares about her and wants the best for her. The priest watched Olna going up against the monster. Just by looking at the way the fight was going, he could tell this creature wasn't weak. Olna had her hands full, and it was obvious this thing was tougher than most. He nodded, thinking this was just as serious as anything could pull off. Olna keeps trading blows with the giant orc. Neither of them is backing down, and the fight is getting more intense. Olna goes all out, trying every move she knows to land a hit on the orc, but the orc just keeps dodging, making it look easy, almost like he's just messing with her. She gets more frustrated with every miss, but she doesn't slow down, determined to break through his defense. She gets angrier every time the orc slips away from her strikes. No matter how fast she swings, it feels like the orc's always a step ahead, making her clench her fists with every miss. The monster looks at the weak attack from the protagonist and barely reacts. He figures this isn't even worth his time, so he focuses his attention on the protagonist, deciding to deal with him right away. The priest picks up on the danger coming his way. The orc jumped and landed right in front of everyone, making the ground shake a little. All eyes were on him now. He could tell the monster was both strong and quick, making it a real problem. Still, he thought if they teamed up and went at it together, they might be able to spot where it was vulnerable. The giant orc just looked down at the group, clearly not impressed. It was obvious he thought they had no chance of figuring out where he was vulnerable. The night watch girl moved fast, sending out a thick cloud of smoke that spread through the air. Smoke wraps around the giant orc's feet. He doesn't waste a second. He jumps back fast, not sticking around to see what happens next. The guy and the priest saw their chance and fired off their lightning beams, trying to catch their opponent off guard. The giant orc reaches out and grabs both of their hands at once, holding them tight. He stands there looking pretty confident, almost like he's above it all. The bugs try to go after him, but he dodges without breaking a sweat. Instead of getting hit, he somehow gets them to turn on each other, making them attack their own team. He wondered. He grabs them and tosses them to the ground like it's nothing. The hero keeps trying to land a punch, but nothing works. He just can't touch the guy. Meanwhile, his partner starts thinking fast and comes up with a plan. The main guy manages to catch the orc's eye. He sizes up the monster, locking eyes with it, and gets ready to test if it can handle his next move. The guy steps forward and swings with everything he's got. The orc does something totally unexpected. He stops the main character's punch by trapping it right under his arm. The giant orc called it a childish taunt and pulled back his fist, getting ready to throw a heavy punch. The guy throws a solid punch, and it hits the main character straight in the face. The hit lands hard, and blood comes out of his mouth. His partner lets him know things are going as planned, so he just has to stick with it a little longer. The gem on his chest lights up, shining even brighter than before. He draws in more energy, just like he did last time. The hero lifts his hand and shoots out a powerful beam, using its force to blast himself up high into the sky. The allies really want to step in, but there's nothing they can do right now. Still, the guy isn't backing down. He looks set on finding a way to go anyway. The protagonist's sister steps forward and puts her hand out, stopping them before they can do anything else. She tells them her brother thinks they're too weak to help and would just slow things down. The guy's patience runs out. He's clearly irritated, and he points out that if anyone's struggling, the Ice Queen could easily step in and handle things. He looks over at, hoping for some kind of reaction, but she just stays quiet and doesn't say anything. Out of nowhere, the Ice Queen collapses and falls to the ground, completely out cold. Everyone around her freezes, staring in disbelief as they try to process what just happened. The orc barrels after the main guy, moving way faster than anyone would expect from something that big. The monster charges after him, roaring and looking super mad. He runs for his life, heart pounding, knowing he has to move fast if he wants to get out of this mess. The orc closes the gap fast, getting right up to the main character and pulling his arm back, ready to throw a punch. The punch comes flying at him, but he reacts just in time, slipping out of the way. The main guy bursts through the door, trying to get away as fast as he can. He steps inside and finds that there's nothing there. The room's just empty. The giant orc showed up at the door, looking like he'd finally run out of options. He just stood there, kind of stuck, knowing he had nowhere else to go. The guy stands there, grinning like he's got everything under control. He knows the orcs are the ones trapped this time, not him. Behind the orc, vines start pushing up from the ground. The main guy notices that the orc can avoid every attack, no matter what. It's almost like the orc just can't be touched at all. The orc nods, admitting that this guy's power is actually way stronger than he thinks. If something tries to hit him, he can dodge it every time, no matter what. The hero doesn't let anything get to him. He just keeps going, pushing himself and taking in even more energy, like he's on a mission, and there's nothing that can slow him down. He knows that if he goes off in a cramped spot like this, the orc won't stand a chance of getting away. Just the thought of it makes the other orcs back off, clearly uneasy about what might happen next. The main character suddenly starts shining really bright. The main guy stands there, surrounded by this glowing energy, while the huge orc just stares at him, frozen. The monster can't figure out why he's getting this uneasy vibe from someone so weak. The giant orc could tell things were about to go south, so he made up his mind. He tries to make a run for it, but the vines get in his way and stop him cold. He smiles, knowing there's no turning back for him now. He focuses hard, channeling all his energy into his hand until it starts to build up, glowing brighter and brighter. He calls out the name of his move, then suddenly lets loose a massive blast, way stronger than anything he's done before, like his power just shot up by more than 3,000 times. The giant orc freezes up when he sees the attack heading straight for him. His eyes go wide and he can't hide how scared he is. A huge blast suddenly rips through the place, wiping out everything nearby. The protagonist's friends showed up and couldn't believe how wrecked everything was. They looked around, taking in all the damage, and the scene hit them hard. The guy looked frustrated and started raising his voice at the protagonist's sister. He clearly thought she hadn't cared about him at all. The tension in the room spiked as he let his feelings out, making things even more awkward for everyone around. His sister tells him not to worry, saying she knows he's got this. That night, Watch Girl stepped in and told the group they had to go look for their hero. Out of nowhere, a huge blast goes off right in the middle of all the broken debris. The guy crawls out from under the wreckage, looking pretty roughed up. The guy checked on him, looking a bit concerned. He just shrugged it off, saying he was fine, and acted like he'd just dodged a bullet. The hero let everyone know he survived by using a super strong hardening move, making himself way tougher than usual. The guy steps over the broken pieces and starts pulling his master out from under the rubble. He doesn't waste time, just gets right to it, focused on making sure his master's okay. Out of nowhere, the rubble started shaking hard. Out of nowhere, a huge hand pushes up through the middle of the wreckage. The giant orc reaches out, grabs the rocks, and slowly gets back on his feet. Turns out he made it through. The monster glares, clearly frustrated, realizing he didn't expect the kid to be this tough. Both the guy and his apprentice just stand there, frozen. It takes them a second to even process what just happened. He can't believe it. After that massive explosion, the guy is still standing. As the monster starts moving in the darkness, Watch Girl quickly sets off her smoke, making the first move. The giant bolts ahead, looking mad and determined, steps forward and uses her power to cover the area in thick smoke. The whole place quickly fills up, making it hard for anyone to see what's going on. Smoke swords zip through the air, heading straight for the orcs. The giant orc moves fast, slipping past every attack. Monster could tell the explosion messed with his body. Even though he's hurt, he's not backing down. He pushes through the pain, still ready to throw down if he has to. The giant orc looked over at them, almost like he was challenging them to think that was the best he could do. Then, without warning, he let out a surge of power that filled the air, making everyone tense up. Nobody can move. The monster's presence is so intense, it's like everyone's feet are glued to the ground. The air feels heavy, and nobody dares to make a sound or even breathe too loud. He can tell the monster's power just leveled up again. The gem lit up, showing that the giant orc's energy had shot past 38,000. The orc let everyone know that he usually holds back his strength to fit in on this world, but now he wasn't holding anything back. The monster realizes that hanging around like this for too long could really mess things up for him. He glared, looking ready to take everyone down. The apprentice steps forward, determined not to let anyone mess with his master. He gets ready, energy building in his hands as he starts to form a golden. The monster doesn't even bother with the guy's attack. It just keeps moving, walking right past him like he's not even there. The giant orc pulls back his arm, getting ready to throw a punch right at the main guy. He knows this is it, his one shot. If he wants any chance at making it through, he's got to go for it now, no holding back. All of a sudden, there's a massive blast right where they're fighting. The main guy ends up blowing himself up again, just like before. The explosion had just gone off, but the giant orc was still standing strong. He looked frustrated, refusing to accept defeat, especially from someone he saw as weaker than himself. Even after the blast, he made it clear he wasn't done fighting. He looks around at the chaos, realizes he's outmatched, and turns to make a run for it. The apprentice stands there wide-eyed as he watches the orc take off in the other direction. He didn't expect the orc to bail like that, and for a second he just stares, trying to make sense of what happened. That Knight steps in. She tells him to take a breath and see how the main guy's doing. The guy bolts straight to the spot where the main character had been, not wasting a second. Out of nowhere, the main guy swings his hand and smacks the dude right across the face, trying to snap him back to reality. He turns his head and spots the protagonist standing there, the guy who just hit him. Turns out the protagonist isn't finished yet. The hero quickly pushes his apprentice out of the way. The guy looked at him, confused, trying to figure out how he was standing there without a scratch when he'd just blown up seconds ago. The girl looked at the energy that just burst out, unsure about what she saw. The main guy brushed it off, acting like it was nothing serious, just some kind of trick up his sleeve. He let everyone know he only pretended to blow himself up just to freak out the monster. He thinks to himself that someone as full of themselves as that guy would never bother going all out against someone he sees as weak. That Knight wanted to know if he ever got scared that the orc might actually throw down and fight. Without the limiters holding it back, the monster's body was starting to fall apart. It looked like it couldn't handle all that power at once, and anyone watching could tell things were about to get messy. The main guy knows he can't waste any time. He gets it in his head that the giant orc needs to be stopped now, and he's already moving, ready to chase after it without a second thought. The Night Watch girl steps in front of him, blocking his path. She tells him that if he tries to take on the orc right now, things probably won't go well for him. He thinks about how if he doesn't go, he might not even make it through the day. He glances down at his counter, showing just how serious things are. His sister steps in and gives him a hand, making things a bit easier for him. She made up her mind to stick by her brother's side, no matter what. Staying together was the only thing that felt right to her. The Night Watch girl stands nearby, quietly keeping an eye on the three of them. She seems deep in thought as she observes what they're doing. She chooses to hang back, pulling out her phone to reach out to headquarters. The woman reminded him about the promise they'd made. It stuck in his mind, making him think back to that moment and what it meant. He could tell it was important to her, and now it was up to him to remember and keep his word. She lets him know he still owes her a month as her bodyguard, so he better not get himself killed. He keeps his word no matter what. The guys sprinted through the city streets, trying to figure out where the monster went. Their eyes scanned every corner and alley, hoping to catch a glimpse of it before anyone else did. Every step felt urgent, like they were racing against time. Out of nowhere, the apprentice stepped into the scene. He points something out to the main guy, catching his attention. They catch sight of the giant orc running away. The guy watches as it suddenly takes off, not expecting it to actually fly away. He stands there, caught off guard, eyes following the thing as it disappears into the sky. The giant orc turns around, surprised to see the hero still standing. The giant orc lets out a loud yell, clearly hurting from all the hits he's taking. The monster can tell things aren't looking good for him, and if this keeps up, he doesn't stand a chance. The guy pointed out that the monster had taken off into the sky. The main guy just stared up, thinking there was no way he could follow since flying wasn't something he could do. The guy grinned, looking like he was glad to finally have a chance to help out. He admits he's still learning, but he can fly now. Electric sparks started to glow around him, lighting up his whole body with a gold shine. He reaches out and firmly takes hold of the protagonist and his sister by their arms. He lifts them up and takes off into the air, holding onto both of them as they leave the ground behind. The giant orc didn't expect the group to catch up so fast. He turned around, eyes wide, not really sure how they managed to get so close. For a second, he just stood there, almost frozen, as if he couldn't believe what was happening. The monster looks up and sees the floating city in the distance. At the Hunter Association headquarters, a guy looked around to see if everyone was there. A woman wearing glasses lets him know that nothing has happened yet. Only 10 people actually made it to the meeting, while everyone else just came up with excuses for not showing. The man's anger boiled over as he watched the other hunter act like nothing was wrong. He figured 10 people was plenty, so he pushed open the meeting room door. He lets everyone know it's time to start the meeting. All of them are ranked at the very top 10 S-rank hunters. One of the guys starts to get annoyed. He looks at the person running the meeting, pretty much done with wasting time. If this whole thing turns out to be pointless, he's not going to let it slide. Everyone recognized her right away, Captain, the one with the pirate hat. She's known as the 6th strongest S-rank hunter out there. Right then, a guy wearing a mask steps in and calls her out for not showing any respect to Mr. Stood there the government's main guy. In the association, he ranked 5th in strength, definitely not someone you'd mess with. Another dude nearby, holding a fan, gestures for him to just let it go, like dealing with rude people isn't worth the hassle. Stood there, known by everyone as one of the top hunters. Number 10 on the list, actually. Seeing him made people pay attention. Captain didn't like what was happening. He got annoyed and stepped up, making it clear to everyone around that he wasn't happy with the guy holding the fan. The guy with the fan just shrugs it off, clearly not wanting to get into some random fight. Out of nowhere, a boy stepped in between them. He looked serious, making it clear with his presence that things needed to chill out. Right then, the boy knew it wasn't the moment for pointless arguments. This was Sonic Wavemore. Everyone recognized him as the 15th strongest hunter out there. Not long after, a masked guy showed up and claimed that fear was something you could slice right through with a sword. While the old guys were chatting nearby, one of them pointed out that the younger crowd should be the ones making their own choices. There's another bald dude in the crowd who steps up and gets everyone's attention, making sure they focus on what S about to say. The bald guy in the scene stands out as the 13th toughest hunter around. Right then, a robot showed up. This wasn't just any robot. It was known as the 9th strongest hunter in the whole association. Everyone called it. There he was, sitting on the cold floor with chains locking him in place. This guy wasn't just any prisoner. He ranked as the 16th strongest hunter around, but now he was just number 14,514 in the system. Everyone sat down, waiting for things to start. The leader looked around, raised his hand, and the room got quiet. It was clear the meeting was about to kick off. He turned to his assistant and signaled for the projector to be switched on. The woman picks up the remote and pushes a button. Right in the center of the room, a hologram pops up where everyone can see it. All the hunters stop what they're doing and look over, waiting to see what's going on. Lets everyone know that a high-level monster showed up way earlier than anyone expected and ended up opening a portal. He points out that the portals are draining energy from around them, using it to bring in even more monsters. Their leader stands out from the rest, packing way more energy than any of the monsters that came before, like 10,000 times more. Captain just rolled her eyes, acting like his strength didn't impress her at all. She looked totally confident, as if she could beat him in a single move, no matter what. The guy in charge shook his head, making it clear that things weren't easy. Even the last group they sent couldn't handle him. The assistant pops open a briefcase and lets everyone know the government has come up with a brand new kind of detector. The new gear could spot monster energy and keep track of what those monsters could do. One of the older guys looked around, wondering if they'd all been brought together just to check out this new tech. The leader looked at the group, understanding that they were already tough. Still, he explained that this would give the hunters who weren't as strong a better chance. He lets lets everyone know the real reason they're all there. It's time to figure out how they're going to shut the portal. The fan guy thinks this job suits because she usually acts without overthinking things. The captain's face tightens with anger. He spins around, glaring hard, demanding the guy say it again. Everyone nearby can tell he isn't messing around. He's seriously ticked off. Out of nowhere, the whole room starts shaking. Everyone tenses up, looking around to figure out what's going on. His assistant glanced over, checking to see if he was all right. Looked a bit confused, trying to figure out what was going on. One of the old guys at the table spots his cup of tea rattling on the saucer. He stares at it for a second, confused, trying to figure out what's making it move like that. He notices right away that some people have shown up who definitely weren't invited. Right at that moment, the orc the main guy had been after showed up and smashed into the association's base. The guards from the association find out something's up, so they get ready for anything. Everyone's on edge, watching for trouble. The guards notice something moving through the smoke. Their eyes narrowed as they tried to make out what it was, hearts picking up speed as they watched the shadows shift. Everyone stayed alert, bracing themselves for whatever might come next. Once the signal came in, the group got ready and opened fire at the target. The bullets hit the orc, but nothing happens. It just stands there, barely noticing the attack. Suddenly, the orc charges straight past the soldiers, knocking every single one of them to the ground before anyone can even react. After taking down all his opponents, he picks up this weird object that looks kind of like a mini nuke. He grabs the weird, glowing thing, not really sure what it is or if he should even be touching it. The orc looks down at the cylinder in his hand, relief hitting him. He knows that with the energy inside, he's finally got a shot at getting his strength back. After everything he's been through, this feels like a win, something he hasn't had in a while. Out of nowhere, an orange light showed up in the sky, grabbing the soldiers' attention. One of the soldiers noticed the light and signaled the others, getting their attention. The golden beam headed down toward the floating city, with his friend and his sister right beside him. The soldiers glance at each other, unsure if they should start firing. Their hands tighten on their weapons as they wait to see what happens next. The leader steps forward, looking serious. He makes it clear that something's up and nobody's allowed to come near. He suddenly gets this uneasy feeling, like someone's got their eyes on him. It hits him that he's next on the list, and things are about to get real. The guy stands there, totally lost about why someone's coming at him. He ducked behind cover as bullets zipped past him. It didn't make sense. These guys were supposed to be on his side, but now he had to watch his back even more. It was honestly frustrating, trying to stay alive while his supposed teammates were firing at him. He thinks the gap between them is just right for his next move. He quickly reaches out and grabs his sister's arm. The hero uses the guy's face as a step, pushing off to get a boost. The main guy quickly pushes her down to the ground, so he can get a better grip and pull himself up even higher. The guy drops straight into the middle of the soldiers. The soldiers stood still, watching the dust in the air, holding their breath until they could see what was left. Guy raised his hands and gave up, letting everyone know he was Lee, a C-rank hunter. The distraction worked, so the hero and his sister touched down without any trouble. He landed, feet hitting the ground with a solid thud. The girl with horns lets him know she wants to stick around, and he doesn't mind. He's cool with her staying by his side. The two siblings walked into the base together. When he gets there, he can't help but stare for a second. What he sees is what he expected, and it throws him off. The orc he'd been running after had beaten him to the spot, and was already messing with the radioactive thing, trying to get it open. The guy realized the main character just made things easier for him. He didn't have to waste time searching anymore. His sister let him know that the orca was even stronger now. The monster was already coming at him, not holding back at all. He braced himself, ready to deal with whatever hit him next. The orc starts shouting, making it clear he's not done yet. He's got his eyes locked on him, ready to go in for the final blow. The hit lands hard, sending dust and smoke swirling through the air. He spots his sister heading his way and quickly signals for her to stop, not wanting her to come any closer. He barely got his guard up just in time, stopping the hit right before it landed. The main guy steps up to the monster, messing with it and making it mad on purpose. The orc hears the taunt, and his anger instantly spikes. His fists clench, and you can see he's completely lost his cool. He uses up 500 energy points just to avoid getting hit, but his demonic arm starts giving out under the pressure. It's obvious it can't keep up anymore, and he can feel it weakening fast. The orc spots a chance and quickly goes in for another attack. He blocks the punch again, staying sharp and ready for whatever comes next. The orc isn't backing down. He charges in, swinging both fists over and over, throwing punches one after another at the main guy. The main guy slams hard into the wall, his body taking a serious hit. Pain shoots through him, and he struggles to catch his breath. It's clear he's badly hurt, barely holding himself up as he tries to recover. The creature moves closer, looking straight at him, almost like it's trying to figure out out what's going on in his head. It seems to wonder why he keeps pushing back instead of just giving up. The main guy just grinned, acting like he hadn't been fighting back at all. He let everyone know that he was just trying to buy some time until the S-rank hunters could show up. Out of nowhere, someone's voice cuts through the noise and tells them to stop. Green rings of energy slammed into the orcs. He shoved him straight into the wall, hitting it with enough force to make the whole room go quiet for a second. The monster tries to figure out how someone managed to hurt him just by speaking. The boy felt the ground rumble as a powerful energy moved through the air. Everyone turned when the 15th strongest hunter showed up, grabbing the attention of the whole crowd. More S-rank hunters showed up with him, ready to jump into the fight. One of the hunters just signals for everyone to stop chatting and get moving. Every intruder had to go. He realizes he's gotten himself into serious trouble with the top S-rank hunters. The orc's face twisted with anger after realizing he'd been fooled. Meanwhile, the main character stood his ground, making it clear that he was the one who showed up. Someone suddenly calls the protagonist Master. The hero spotted his friend throwing in the towel. The soldiers grabbed him and started leading him away. Lee shoots him a serious look, letting him know he should watch himself around the S-rank hunters. He admits that he's already picked up on it. These guys aren't the type you can handle without some trouble. The masked hunter walks up to the boy. He walks right by the main guy, giving him a shove as he passes, like he can't even be bothered to hide how much he looks down on him. One of the other S-rank hunters steps up and signals for the main guy to move aside, making it clear he should back off. His sister pointed out how the hunters seemed to look down on him, but he just brushed it off, thinking S-rank hunters were always full of themselves anyway. He's run into a couple of S-rank hunters before, so he gets what kind of people they are. The S-rank hunters moved into place, ready to face off against the orcs. Each one looked focused, sizing up the enemy and preparing for the battle ahead. They knew what was coming, and no one wasted any time getting set. The monster looks really angry as more and more enemies show up. He notices right away that these guys have way more power than the soldiers he fought before. The orc takes a quick look at the group in front of him and realizes he's outnumbered. Not wanting to get wrecked, he backs off, choosing to fall back instead of taking them all on by himself. The masked hunter moved closer, making it clear he wasn't letting the other guy get away. The masked hunter rushed straight at the monster, not slowing down for even a second. He gets ready to throw a strong uppercut. He throws a huge uppercut and nails the orc right on the chin. The hit lands with so much force that cracks start spreading across the ceiling high above the city. The blast from the shockwave was so strong that it cracked the buildings outside where they were. Walls split and windows shook, showing just how powerful the impact really was. The hunter holding the fan steps forward, letting everyone know he's joining in to help. He grabs a talisman and uses it to hit the orcs with a lightning spell. Lightning bolts came crashing down, striking all around the monster. Even with all that chaos, it kept moving fast, slipping away from most of the attacks. He barely has time to react before one of the bolts slams right into him. The creature realizes its movements aren't as quick as before. He was scared. Suddenly, a huge bolt of lightning comes down and hits the orb. The assistant glanced over, wondering if that last hit was enough to take down the orc. The mage with the fan just rolled his eyes, acting like level 5 monsters weren't a big deal at all. The bald guy steps up and lets him know the creature isn't down for good yet. Even after getting slammed by the hunter's attacks, the orcs weren't giving up. They pushed themselves up, still trying to fight back, refusing to go down that easily. He stands his ground, determined not to let something as small as worms get the best of him. He throws a punch and hits the bald guy. He goes straight for the mage with the fan and lands a solid hit. He figured it was better not to jump into a fight. Deep down, he knew walking away was the smart move this time. The orc pushes through the soldiers, taking them down one after another as they try to block his way. He's just about out, barely slipping away. He looks around and realizes there's just one soldier still standing. The assistant quickly pointed out that now was the time to strike. He let the protagonist know he had to stay on the offensive and make sure the orc didn't get its strength back. A woman in high heels shows up, clearly annoyed that beating the orcs is taking so long. She pulls out her sawed-off shotgun and blasts it straight at the monster. The arrow slams right into the orc's chest. The red-haired woman casually let the smoke drift away from her gun, looking calm and in control. She points out how the other hunters are making the group's reputation look bad. There is no script to rewrite, just the word ranks. Nothing happens in this panel. The main guy's assistant lets him know that the woman who just showed up is someone he actually knows. Herod Hunter spots the main guy and does a double take. He didn't expect to see someone he actually knows, so he stands there for a second, trying to process what's going on. It's not every day he runs into a familiar face in a place like this. She spots him standing there and shoots him an angry look. Clearly, she's surprised to run into him in this place, and she's not happy about it. He can already tell this is about to make things way more complicated for him. The red-haired hunter walks up to the main guy, looking pretty sure of himself. She honestly didn't think she'd run into him here. The fan mage and the bald guy glanced at each other, both a bit confused about about how this woman was connected to such a low-level hunter. The redhead jumps in and kicks the orc right in the face. The main guy didn't see that coming. He just stood there for a second trying to process what she just did. It definitely caught him off guard. The protagonist's chest gets tapped without warning. The woman wraps her arms around the boy, smiling because she's glad he's there. The dude just stands there, totally clueless about what's happening. The hunter looked at him, trying to figure out if he'd shown up to say yes to her offer. But then his sister jumps in, clearly not happy about the hug, and quickly breaks it up. The red-haired hunter noticed him and realized it had been some time since they last met. She saw that things had changed for him. He was even dating someone now. The sister looked over, curious about the woman standing with her brother. He told her it was just someone he knew from a recent mission, trying to keep things simple. Herod Hunter noticed that he looked smaller than before and wondered what had happened to him. The three guys hung out together, talking among themselves while the orc lay on the ground nearby. The monster stands back up, clearly not ready to give up. Even though it just took a serious hit, it looks determined and a bit ticked off, making it obvious the fight isn't over yet. The assistant hurried over, letting the hero know it was time to move. The orc looked ready to make a run for it, and they couldn't just stand around. While everyone's attention is somewhere else, the monster quietly slips away, hoping nobody notices. Everyone sees the creatures break out. Just then, a dark shape moved over the orc's head, almost like a hand blocking out the light. Right then, Hunter steps up, moving just like Captain America would. He grabs the monster by the head, not hesitating for a second. He thinks the invader has to be taken out. The orc struggles to get loose, but no matter how hard he tries, he just can't break free. He swings his fist straight at the guy, who looks just like Captain America. The man reacts fast, reaching out and stopping the hit with only one hand. He decides right then that the orc's the one who's about to lose. He lets go of the orc's arm. The orc's body was wrecked, every bone snapped and shattered. He couldn't hold back his screams as pain tore through him, and his arm was gone, lost in the chaos. He's missing an arm, but that doesn't slow him down. He just goes at it with his other hand, not backing off for a second. Captain America reacts fast and uses the orc's own chopped-off arm to block the orc's attack. Red drops suddenly hit the captain's face. The bald guy looked over and let everyone know things were about to get tough for the orc. He seemed pretty certain the orc was in real trouble now. The red-haired hunter wonders to himself why Captain America is suddenly acting so strange. The captain moves quick, slipping out of the way just as the punch comes at him. Captain America steps forward, looking serious. He makes it clear that he's about to take on the orcs, not backing down for a second. The guys around him can tell he means business. Everyone gets that this is about to get intense. The protagonist's sister tenses up, eyes wide, when Captain America calls out what just happened. She looks rattled, like she's not sure what's going to happen next. The assistant let the hero know he needed to hurry, or the captain would end up taking the orc's energy instead. The main guy gets ready to step in, eyeing the orc and planning to drain its energy. The red-haired hunter steps in and stops him. She looks at him like he's lost his mind, trying to figure out if he actually wants to get himself hurt or worse. He figures that staying put won't change anything. In his mind, whether he steps up or not, the outcome will end up just the same. The story keeps moving along. The assistant looked at the protagonist with a serious face, letting him know that messing up wasn't an option. The pressure was definitely on now, and the main guy could tell his assistant really believed in him. It was one of those moments where you realize the people around you are counting on you to pull through. After thinking it over, the main guy goes ahead and taps into his power, cranking it up way higher than usual, like 1,000 times stronger. He takes off fast, almost a blur, rushing straight into the middle of the fight. Captain America steps up and starts landing solid hits on the orcs. Each punch pushes them back, and you can tell he's not holding back. The orcs look surprised, realizing pretty fast that this guy isn't someone to mess with. It's clear he's got the upper hand, and the orcs are struggling to keep up with his moves. The main guy moves in, catching the captain's eye. The main character steps into view, holding his sword that burns with fire. He was down to just 470 energy, but he clenched his jaw, determined to take out the orcs no matter what. In a split second, the main guy cuts right through the orcs. The orc drops to the ground, its body cut clean in half. Captain America stands there, totally surprised, watching as the protagonist takes out the enemy right before he could. It catches him off guard. He didn't expect anyone to jump in and finish the job he'd lined up. For a second, he just stares, not sure what to think about losing the moment to someone else. The hero and his assistant let out a cheer after their win, both of them still buzzing from the orc's wild energy. They fist bump, grinning like they just pulled off an epic move in a game. The excitement is real, and it feels good to share the moment, knowing they earned it together. The main guy can sense the orc's power running through him. It's like his body suddenly buzzes with energy, and he can tell something's different now. His sister nudges him, letting letting him know someone's coming their way. Captain America steps up and swings his fist right at the main character. The punch lands hard, echoing through the air and smashing the ground. Dirt and chunks of earth go flying as a deep crater forms where the fist hit. The hunters watch Captain America and can't believe how strong he is. They've seen tough fighters before, but nothing like this. Some of them just stare, kind of frozen, while others look at each other, trying to figure out if they're seeing things. Captain America's moves are on another level, and it's clear he's way beyond what they expected. The protagonist's sister steps forward, ready to do something, but the red-haired hunter moves in and blocks her, stands firm, making it clear he's not about to give up without a fight. Captain America looks around and notices the protagonist is missing. He turns around and notices that the kid actually dodged it. He didn't expect that at all. The main guy pushes himself up and jumps out from the broken chunks of stone and dust. He and his assistant high-fived, both grinning after he finished absorbing all the orc's energy. The red-haired hunter watches the hero, pretty amazed at how strong he really is. The assistant lets him know that things with Captain America aren't finished yet. The captain noticed how fast the protagonist moved out of the way. After that, he gets ready to launch another attack at the main guy. Charges straight at the main character, coming in fast and full of energy. At the very last moment, the protagonist steps aside, barely missing the attack. Captain America notices the main guy dodging an energy blast and doesn't waste a second. He rushes in, using the opening to land a solid punch. He manages to avoid every hit the guy throws at him, moving just fast enough to stay out of reach. The main guy steps back over and over as the attacks come at him. The hero's body is covered in bruises and scrapes. He looks exhausted, like he's about to collapse, barely holding it together. Captain America steps in, noticing right away that the main guy's skin is burning hot to the touch. Captain America steps forward and throws another straight punch. Out of nowhere, talismans snap around the protagonist's leg, locking him in place. He didn't see that coming, so he's pretty caught off guard. Captain America gets ready to throw an elbow at the main guy. Captain America swings in and nails the protagonist with a solid hit, knocking him back. The hit lands hard, sending a burst of energy through the air all around them. Nobody expected the main guy to actually go toe-to-toe with Captain America. People watching couldn't believe what they were seeing. This wasn't supposed to happen. Even the crowd started buzzing online, posting clips and reactions, while some just stared, trying to process how the fight was even possible. Even after getting hit, the main guy stays on his feet. Suddenly, steam begins to rise off his body, hinting that something about him is changing. His assistant had given him a heads up just in time. Without her warning, he probably wouldn't have stood a chance. The captain walked over, and the main guy wanted to know if this was the hunter everyone called Steve. His whole body burned with energy as he stepped up, ready to face the captain again. He wasn't backing down and wanted another shot at a straight-up fight. The captain didn't expect what just happened. He looks at the scene, trying to figure out if a D-rank hunter could really be this strong. The two locked eyes, both standing their ground. It was like you could almost see the tension in the air between them. Neither one looked away, both ready to show what they were made of. Just as the fight heats up, someone suddenly steps in and stops everything. Shows up just in time, having seen the whole thing go down. He steps in, puts a stop to the fight, and makes it clear to everyone that there's no point in letting things get out of hand. After that, he gives the main guy some props, letting him know he's actually pretty strong. The guy offers our hero a spot on the government team. At the spot where the fight just happened, a guy wearing a strange hat watches the main character closely. He doesn't look convinced, and it's obvious he's not sure if the hero can be trusted. The director shot a sharp look at the captain, clearly putting the pressure on him to fix the situation. The message was obvious. This problem wasn't going away on its own, and it was up to the captain to step up and sort things out. The captain faced the group, making it clear he was just doing what the unified government told him to do. He didn't show any sign of backing down or changing his mind. The team could tell he was serious about sticking to the rules, and it looked like there wasn't much room for argument. Out of nowhere, an agent shows up and lets the guy know he's the person running things at the Hunters Association. Lee Fan steps up and lets everyone know he's a D-rank hunter. The head of the association lights up when he sees the MC, grinning from ear to ear. He reaches out and grabs the MC's hand, giving it an enthusiastic shake like he just met his favorite celebrity. The agent can't believe how strong this D-ranker is. He starts to question if the association got his ranking all wrong. The hero pulls his hand back with that strange-looking arm of his, leaving the agent looking pretty confused and curious about what the guy can actually do. Right then, the pirate lady walked up. She didn't waste any time, just cutting straight through whatever the agent was doing. She wanted answers and made it clear she wasn't in the mood for games. She suddenly hugs him, catching him off guard. Then, she hints that he should move up to S-rank hunter, making things a bit more interesting for him. Getting an S-rank evaluation isn't exactly easy, Lee thinks. It takes more than just showing up or doing the basics. There's a lot more to it than most people realize. He suggests that if the hero can pull off a specific mission, there's a chance they'll bend the rules for him. The pirate lady starts to get suspicious, raising an eyebrow as she tries to figure out what kind of big deal mission this could possibly be. The agent reaches into his bag and takes out a small projector. He hits a button, and suddenly the screen lights up, showing everyone what they're supposed to do next. The device lights up and shows a weird picture of the last portal. He explains that their job now is to take that thing out. The pirate lady looks seriously angry. She doesn't think anyone could take on that monster by themselves, not even the top hunters. While all this is going on, the guy wearing the hat just stands there with a smug look on his face. He clearly thinks the hunter isn't worth much and doesn't bother hiding it. The agent tries to get her to relax, letting her know that the boy isn't heading out on this mission alone. He gestures toward the other hunters, letting everyone know they're getting involved too. The man lets everyone know that stronger hunters, the ones ranked A and B, are coming in to help out as backup. He says he'll think about taking on the mission, but just being called S-ranked isn't enough to convince him. He wants something extra before he agrees. Li Fan stood there with a confident grin, making it clear that any monsters anyone caught had to go straight to him. The hunters freeze up, not expecting the heroes to ask for something like that. Nobody moves for a second, and you can tell they just didn't see it coming. The director's secretary shouted, making it clear that he was about to take all the credit for the team's work. The guy in the hat looks over at the main character and sizes him up. He seems a bit unimpressed, thinking the MC talks a lot for someone who isn't all that strong. Nobody saw it coming, but the agent actually goes along with what the guy wants. Nobody can believe what the association chief just did. The whole room freezes for a second, guys glancing at each other, trying to figure out if they heard right. Even the usual chatter dies down, and it's clear that this decision caught everyone off guard. The agent lets everyone know that the association will cover the rewards for the other hunters. He says they'll handle it with their own money. He fixes his gaze on the main character, making it clear the rewards aren't just handed out. He looks straight at him, face all business, and lets him know that the toughest part of the mission is on his shoulders. The hero reached out and shook the agent's hand, making the deal official. Li Fan stands there looking sure of himself. He's got that little smirk on his face, the kind that says he's ready for whatever comes next. He accepts the mission without even hesitating, like he's done this 100 times before. The agent stops for a second, kind of surprised that he's ready to jump in without even knowing how risky things might get. He just shrugs, thinking that when something's risky, the payoff could be huge. That's how he sees it. Going big might actually change everything. The agent lets go of the handshake and gets ready to go over the plan. While the assistant tried to play it cool, he couldn't hide that the handshake had actually stung a bit. He joked around with the hero, acting tough, but anyone watching could tell he was still trying to recover from that grip. The job for the two S-rank hunters is to get the monster to notice them. With everyone looking the other way, the hero spots his chance. He grips the briefcase, heart-pounding, and heads straight for the portal, making sure not to waste a second. This is the moment he's been waiting for, and he knows there's no turning back now. RMC freezes, caught off guard by what just happened. His eyes widen and his mind scrambles to process it all. He looks at the case, curious about what could be in it. The agent pops open the briefcase, and inside there's a nuclear energy bomb. The chief lets everyone know that the bomb runs on compressed energy and could easily destroy half the city if it goes off. He goes on, explaining that if the bomb goes off close to the portal, it might actually wipe it out for good. The agent grinned, then casually tossed the bomb over to Li Fan. He watched Li Fan, waiting to see if he was still up for the mission. He grabs the bomb without hesitating, showing everyone he's not someone who quits in the middle of things. The assistant could tell what the hero was really after. It was obvious he saw the Hunters Association as his ticket to finding more monsters to fight. The main guy doesn't really care about getting accused. He's not bothered at all, and honestly, he never trusted the association agent from the start. Li Fan looked at the situation and realized there was a problem. He couldn't fly, so there was no way for him to carry the bomb over to the portal. The agent doesn't seem bothered at all. He just shrugs and acts like it's no big deal, reminding everyone that he already promised to send backup for this mission. The agent grabbed his radio and called for his assistant, letting him know it was time to bring in the aerial combat specialist. He picks up the radio and calls out for the hunter, using that weird name everyone knows him by. Out of nowhere, someone lets out a low grunt from the doorway, breaking the silence and grabbing everyone's attention. Out of nowhere, this massive bird with bright, colorful feathers bursts through the door, flying past like it's in a race. The creature comes to a halt, standing directly in front of him. The bird pops up out of nowhere, and the guy freezes for a second, not really sure what just happened. He wasn't expecting any surprises, so seeing the bird throws him off, and he just stands there, staring. The strange creature suddenly changes shape, turning into something that looks like a guy with wings and feathers. He introduces himself as. The agent just laughed, not really understanding the guy's strange powers or what was up with the bird. Still, he knew one thing for sure. The guy could change forms. He brings over and lets the main guy know that with her on the team, reaching the portal should be easy. The bird man reached out for the bomb, noticing how uneasy the guy looked with it in his hands. Out of nowhere, the winged hunter's focus just steps up. He's even more locked in on finishing the mission now, and anyone watching could see it. The main guy passes the bomb to the other dude. The hero can't help but think this hunter looks a little like a character from one of those robot anime shows. The agent gives the signal, and right away, the S-rank hunters move out to keep the monsters busy. The guy with the hat gives the main character a serious look, letting him know he needs to watch out while setting up the bomb. He looks over at the winged hunter and lets him know it's time to move. Out of nowhere, the protagonist's sister grabs his arm, making it clear she wants in on whatever he's about to do. He tells her there's no way he can bring her along, since the bomb mission is way too risky. She holds on tight, not wanting to let him go. The thought of being apart from him again is something she really doesn't want to deal with. He gives in and lets her stick by his side. Out of nowhere, the pirate lady grabs him and lets him know she wants in as well. Li Fan doesn't say anything. He just turns his back on her and leaves with his sister, not even glancing her way. Just as she's about to chase after him, the director steps in and rests a hand on her shoulder, stopping her in her tracks. He lets her know that it's her job now to keep the city safe. She calls out too, hoping he'll stop, but he acts like he doesn't even hear her and just walks away. When he opens the door, he finds an old man standing there. The two run into each other. Fan quickly says sorry and lets them know he's got to rush off. Just as he's about to walk off, the old man steps in and tells him to hang on for a second. He wonders what the guy's looking for. The old guy claims he knows all about fortune telling and offers to check out the main character's future. While all this was happening across the city, the monsters began to stir. Their movements grew more aggressive, like they were getting impatient or hungry for something. It was clear that things were about to get a lot messier. He rushed over and exploded right beside the alien. He thinks about how, without the other monsters helping out, it'll take more time for the portal to start up. Right after that, a bunch of weird-looking monsters started crawling out of the portal. The alien realizes he needs to open the portal faster. Suddenly, long, twisting tentacles started sliding out from inside the portal. The tentacles hit the ground hard, sending dust and chunks of dirt flying everywhere. A green light starts to glow around them. The alien monster grew impatient and signaled for the portal to speed up, clearly wanting things to move along quicker. At the same time, Li Fan's young disciple calls out, wanting to join his master on the journey. Eager not to be left behind, he tries to keep up, hoping he'll be allowed to tag along. Li Fan admits he's broke and can't pay for a fortune, but the old man isn't bothered at all. The elder steps forward, saying he only wants to help. He's noticed there's something dark and heavy coming off the guy, something that doesn't feel right. He barely looks up and just shrugs, not really caring what the other guy does. The old guy didn't waste any time. As soon as he got the go-ahead, he reached out and grabbed the main character's face, not holding back at all. He starts mumbling something weird under his breath and grabs cheeks, giving them a good squish. Out of nowhere, something weird showed up. A piece of paper slips out from the elder's sleeve. While he's holding the main guy, a piece of paper drifts past them. He looks down at the paper in his hands and blinks a couple of times. There it is, clear as day. It says he has supreme luck. He wasn't expecting that at all. For a second, he just stares, trying to process what it even means. Supreme luck, that's not something you read every day. His mind starts racing, thinking about what could happen next. The old man admits he got it wrong and tells Li Fan that his journey ahead should be smooth, with nothing to worry about. The main guy nods, kind of impressed, and can't help but think about how tough the people in this group must be. Li Fan lets everyone know the mission really matters, and there's no time to waste. While all this is happening, Dumbledore starts wondering if the fortune teller made the right move. The elder just nodded and said it was meant to be, like something bigger had brought them together right then. The wizard looked at the seer, thinking about all the times his predictions had missed the mark. He wondered why the guy always got it wrong, not even landing a single one. The old man's face turns red, and he scratches his head, looking away. Even though he's clearly feeling awkward, he insists that he's got it right this time. The main character steps back and hands over the job to the hunter with wings. The guy suddenly changes, like something just clicked inside him. Without wasting any more time, he makes it clear they need to leave right away. The bird picked up speed, flying fast through the air while the main guy carried his little sister on his back. Fly Lee gets irritated when someone calls him by the wrong name. He can't stand it when people mess that up, and it shows on his face right away. He wonders if turning into an animal is something you get after beating monsters. The Birdman let him know that his powers weren't something he got from monsters. He thinks about how weird people have always existed, but back then, they mostly kept to themselves. The winged hunter explains that he's actually a guardian of the forest, not a half-beast like some might think. He lets them know that carrying both of them means he can't really join the fight, so it's up to them now to handle the monsters on their own. As they got closer to the portal, the hero couldn't believe how many creatures were packed around it. There were monsters everywhere, flying through the air and crawling all over the ground. The alien's eyes go wide as someone shows up. He wasn't expecting visitors and starts thinking about who would be bold enough to come near him. He signals to his monsters, and they charge at the invaders, ready to take them down with no holding back. The main guy gives everyone a heads up that trouble is on the way. Li Fan gets ready to fight, making sure his sister knows to watch out. Li Fan spots monsters getting closer and quickly calls out to his sister, so she knows what's coming. He's on edge, trying to warn her before things get out of hand. She doesn't totally get why why she's being warned, but she figures it's better to be safe, so she decides to watch her back. With his pet fired up and ready to go, the hero could sense things were just about to get interesting. The main guy jumps off the giant bird and charges straight at the monster. A bunch of creatures rush right at him. He figures it's not worth his time fighting these weaker monsters, so he moves on without looking back. With one strong swing of his sword, the hero takes down a bunch of enemies in an instant. The little assistant started grumbling, annoyed that things weren't moving fast enough. He was still hungry and really wanted things to pick up, hoping the job would get done sooner so he could finally eat. One of the creatures suddenly darted right past the protagonist, moving so fast it was almost a blur. Li Fan glances back just in time to notice one of the monsters slipping past him, making a beeline for it. The monster moved right up to Lisa. Nobody saw it coming, but suddenly leaned in and bit the creature right on the face. He climbs back onto without wasting any time. He landed right on the bird, not even breaking a sweat. These monsters didn't bother her at all. She'd already taken down the whole thing like it was nothing. Even though things seem calm right now, the main guy can tell there's something else on the way. It's like he just knows there's more to this story, and he can't shake that feeling. Monsters just keep coming out of the portal, more and more piling into the area. Starts shaking, and everyone notices right away. Li Fan, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. It all hit him at once, like his brain needed a second to catch up. He just stood there, frozen, trying to process everything. Out of nowhere, something huge starts coming up from the ground. A massive hand pushes out from the thick smoke, reaching for and the main guy checked his visor and saw the monster's level pop up. It was a level 3. That wasn't exactly low, and he knew he had to be careful. He lets them know that this creature isn't like the usual monsters they've dealt with. The hero glared at the winged hunter, clearly annoyed that he was wasting time checking the creature's level. Right now, there were bigger things to worry about. The bird darts out of the way just in time, missing the giant hand's punch by a feather. Li Fan and hang on, bracing themselves as the tension builds. Li glances upward, noticing more enemies dropping in from above, and his body tenses as he gets ready for whatever's coming next. Out of nowhere, a bunch of flying monsters show up and start circling the three of them. They're trapped, with creatures coming at them from every direction. They had nowhere left to run. He braces himself for the fight, knowing this isn't the time to hold back or save his strength. He notices they've got backup in this fight. It's not just them taking on the challenge. Right at that moment, help shows up. The guy wearing the weird hat walks in, holding a piece of paper in his hand. The paper suddenly changes shape right in front of him, turning into a raccoon that looks ready for battle. The creature moves fast, cutting down monsters one after another. Its attacks are quick, barely giving the other monsters any time to react. Each swing takes out another enemy, and it doesn't slow down, just keeps moving forward through the crowd. The raccoon grabs its weapon and spins it around, whipping up a strong whirlwind. In just a few seconds, everyone nearby gets knocked out of the way, totally cleared out by the blast. The boys can't take their eyes off the raccoon. They watch as it shows off its wild strength, looking at each other with raised eyebrows. No one expected a raccoon to do something like that. Some of them pull out their phones, already thinking about sharing this crazy moment online. Even the quiet ones seem impressed, trying to figure out how something so small can be that powerful. While all this was going on, little Sound Wave Kid watched from the sidelines, not really impressed with the hero. He just thought the hero didn't seem that special. The guy with the hat grins, acting like if he were the main character in this story, things would probably go way differently. He kept his eyes on his shoes, more focused on keeping himself out of trouble than anything else. He glances down and spots a massive hand coming at him fast. The hand turned out to belong to this massive creature, looking like it was about to smash the main character. The giant hand crashes down, slamming the main guy, and all at once. The guy with the hat looks at the scene, not sure if things could really be over that fast. Out of nowhere, a bright light started glowing in the monster's hand. Li Fan's sister starts to get uneasy about what's going on. Inside the giant hand, Li Fan suddenly lets out a bright golden energy. He powers up like never before, boosting his strength to an insane level, like 200 billion times stronger. Standing there, he's not bothered by being smaller than the others. For him, it's all about what he can do, not how big he is. He gets fed up with the hat guy just standing there and wants him to quit goofing off and actually do something to help. The guy with the hat pointed over at the kid, who was always messing with the sound gear, nodding for him to jump in and lend a hand. The little DJ showed up, carrying his turntable set. He hits the button and gets ready to launch his sonic attack. He lets out a blast of sound so strong that a bunch of monsters go down all at once. The blast hits hard, catching the giant monster off guard. It lets out a loud scream, clearly rattled by the noise. The guy drops down and lands right on its back. Li Fan nodded, grateful for the help. He just shrugged it off, focused on making sure Li Fan got where he needed to go without any trouble. The little DJ waved at them, trying to get their attention. He wanted them to keep moving and not lose focus like last time. He lets them know he's planning to help out a bit more than usual. A purple wave blasts out, pushing the bird ahead fast. The sound hits them hard, and suddenly they're moving faster than they ever thought possible. The little DJ signals to the guy in the hat, letting him know he should keep drawing in more monsters. While all this is going on, the two guys keep battling the swarm of monsters. They stay on their toes, swinging and dodging, doing whatever it takes to hold their ground. Each time a creature comes at them, they push back, trying not to let anything slip past. It's intense, and both of them know they can't let up for even a second. The alien monster spots two humans going at it, both looking pretty tough. But then, the guy shows up and calls him out for being wrong. He crashes down hard onto the ground. He noticed there were more than just a couple of tough-looking people hanging around nearby. The alien wasn't expecting to see the kid up and moving. It catches him off guard for a second, like he thought the boy was done for. The symbol on his chest doesn't match what everyone else has. His number is way higher, standing out and catching attention. Just like that, the main guy shows up behind the alien, his flame blade raised and ready to attack. The alien spots the main character making a move to attack. The two guys squared up, both determined not to back down. They pushed against each other, muscles straining as they tried to overpower one another. Every move was serious, and neither of them wanted to be the first to give in. Li Fan noticed that the alien kept sticking close to the portal. He realized that if the alien left it alone, no more monsters would come through. He makes up his mind not to ignore what happened before. This time, he's ready to face it head-on. Gets to work, making a bunch of energy stakes appear around him. The alien creature starts to get tense when he notices the attack coming closer. His mind suddenly jumps back to an old memory, one that hits him right before things go down. A huge blast of energy bursts out, lighting up everything around. The monsters watch the fight, pretty impressed. It had been a long time since they'd seen something this awesome go down. Two creatures shout out a warning, trying to get the others' attention. But one of them just stands there, totally confused about what's going on. Out of nowhere, a purple beam wiped out all the monsters in one go. Then, a red demon showed up, looking pretty smug as he watched the creatures fall. He seemed pretty proud of himself, like he just unlocked some new move no one saw coming. The purple creature lost his patience and went after the demon, throwing himself into the fight. The alien can't let go of what happened to him. He's still fuming over the way he got embarrassed, and deep down, he's already planning how he's going to get back at them. The attack lands straight on the demon, but he barely reacts. He just looks unimpressed, as if it didn't bother him at all. The demon pulls together a glowing ball of energy in his hands. He looks straight at his opponent, making it clear he thinks there's no competition here. It's like he wants to prove just how far apart their skills really are, like he's the real deal and the other guy's got no chance. The red demon points his finger forward, and a bright purple energy starts to build up at the tip. He looks set to strike, not holding anything back. He blasts a huge beam straight at the hero, trying to take him out for good. The attack hits with so much force that the winged monster can't help but try to figure out what kind of power just hit it. The purple energy blasts straight into him, and everything goes white for a second as a massive explosion goes off. The red demon just grinned, looking pretty confident, almost like he knew he had the upper hand. He seemed to think the alien wasn't strong enough to do anything about it, like revenge was totally out of the question. The alien stands back up. The alien nods, admitting the demon actually got something right. He yells out, ready to take down the demon and leave all those embarrassing memories behind. The demon just walks over and presses his foot down on the alien's head. Out of nowhere, the alien suddenly shoots a bunch of tentacles from his back, catching everyone off guard. The tentacles swung out and slammed into every monster nearby. The creatures started to panic as they felt their energy draining away, all because of the alien. He reaches out with his tentacles, pulling the energy right out of everyone around him. The alien stands taller than before, looking way more confident. He seems to be getting stronger by the second, and it's pretty clear he's not the same weak creature he was just moments ago. The red demon stares in disbelief, trying to figure out how someone he thought was useless could control that much power. The alien looked right at the demon and made it clear that things had changed. The demon wasn't as strong anymore. The red demon could tell he was faking it and called him out on it right away. Out of nowhere, something weird shows up and interrupts the fight, making both of them pause. The demon didn't see this coming. He spots Master and can't figure out what he's doing there, cuts him off clearly annoyed, and lets him know that he saw the whole thing go down. He thinks about how the alien managed to pull off such a strong move. Human let everyone know that their energy was almost at level 6, then casually threw out the idea of having a competition. He points out 2 planets and lets them know they can each pick one for themselves. The first one to suck all the energy from their planet wins and gets to level up. Back in the real world, the alien looks fired up and ready to prove himself. He's got that stubborn look, clearly set on winning no matter what. Anyone watching could tell he's convinced he's the toughest one there. He stands his ground, pushing back against the main character's move. He's determined not to let anyone beat him, showing just how serious he is about not backing down. His tentacles start to slip out again. They rush forward and start firing at the swarm of monsters overhead. The main guy didn't see that coming. For a second, he just froze, wide-eyed, trying to take it all in. His mind raced as he tried to figure out what just happened. The hero notices something strange. The alien starts drawing in all the energy from the monster. The alien lets them no, he can't really keep up his disguise anymore. He hadn't really planned on dealing with all this chaos, especially on a planet this tiny. He notices there aren't many monsters around. He lets it out that this move was supposed to be saved for someone else, but things have gotten serious enough that he has no choice but to go for it now. Freezes up, not sure what to do next. Her hands tremble a bit and her eyes go wide, like she just saw something she wasn't ready for. Right then, the alien lets out a wild yell and goes all out, showing just how strong he really is. He lets go of all his limits, and his whole body turns into straight-up energy. All the monsters up top freeze, totally scared as their strength gets sucked right out of them. Suddenly, beams of light shoot out and cut through every monster in the crowd. The being gets ready to unleash its real power. He gets ready to prove himself, wanting everyone to see why he's known as the leader. As soon as it happened, all the monsters that had lost started to change. Now they're a whole squad of energy soldiers. Both hunters look around, trying to figure out if every monster turned into that same creature. One of the guys picks up on something strange. It's not just the weird energy in the room. All of them seem to have the exact same vibe, like they're all connected somehow. The sound wave hunter knows the alien isn't messing around. He can tell right away that this thing is on a whole different level. Even just being near the alien, he can sense how strong it really is, and it puts him on edge. This isn't something he can just brush off or ignore. The threat is real, and he's got to stay sharp. The other hunter just shrugs it off. He doesn't seem bothered at all. For him, with the monsters out of the picture, the mission just turns into a walk in the park. The Ing lifts its hand, slow and steady, like it's about to do something important. He raises his arm, signaling his army to charge forward. The soldiers, charged up with energy, suddenly split apart and turn into a storm of attacks, coming in from all sides. He stands there, frozen, staring at what's in front of him. His mind's racing, trying to make sense of it all, but nothing clicks. It's like his brain just hit pause, and for a second, he can't even move. Calls out to Li Fan, trying to snap him out of it. She wants him to stop standing there and move before things get worse. Right in front of him, the bird suddenly changes shape, turning into this giant creature that looks a lot like a mole. The alien's attack moved in, closing the distance fast. He's got a lot on his mind right now, mostly because he needs to help. The pressure's on, and he can't help but think about what might go wrong if he messes up. His thoughts keep circling back to her. He knows he can't let her down. The assistant looks at him like he's lost his mind for even thinking about helping that woman. Remembered all the times she'd been there for him, always ready to lend a hand or back him up. Now, with her in trouble, he knew he couldn't just stand by and do nothing. He felt like it was his turn to step up and help her out, no matter what. The hero powers up, taking in a huge amount of energy. He quickly calls up a bunch of stone walls, stacking them up to block the attack coming his way. The stone walls start to break apart as blasts of energy pour down on them. Pieces crumble and fall everywhere, leaving nothing but rubble where the walls used to stand. The walls looked like they were about to cave in from all the energy blasts hitting them. The alien just rolled his eyes, clearly not taking seriously. He wanted to know if was really planning to keep going, even after everything that had happened. The energy being signals its army, and right away, the troops start shifting positions, moving into a new formation just like that. The soldiers suddenly shift how they're standing, getting ready for whatever comes next. They blast out a huge wave of energy. He could tell right away that the defenses were about to fall apart. The alien raised his voice, calling out to his army and ordering them to go after the two standing in front of him. The main guy wonders if they're really going to have to face an attack like that straight on. It's got him thinking hard, because it doesn't look like something anyone would want to deal with up close. He's not sure how they're supposed to handle it, but he knows he can't back down now. They keep building up their power, but then suddenly changed into a kangaroo and jumped high into the air, making the alien look right at her. The alien didn't see the attack coming and quickly moved his army to get ready. All eyes from the army snap over to him. The energy soldiers didn't waste any time. Right away, they spun around and went after the kangaroo, launching their attack without holding back. The hunter takes a bunch of hits and crashes straight down from the sky. The alien just laughs at him, reaching out to snatch the bomb. Right when it looks like the bomb's about to land in the alien's hand, things take a turn. Right before he manages to grab the energy, something unexpected gets in his way. After pushing himself even harder, the main guy ends up taking the energy for himself. He sets the bomb down right next to the portal, his hands steady even though his heart's racing. Jump takes off fast, grabbing the bomb and getting out of there before anyone can react. The alien's face tightens with anger when Li Fan admits he totally forgot about him. Hearing those words, the alien's face twisted with anger. He snapped, ordering his soldiers to go after Li Fan. The energy army suddenly changes direction. They rush straight at him, way faster than he expected. The boy tries to avoid the attacks, slipping past a few of them, but he still gets stabbed more than once. He realizes he has to get out fast, since even his automatic dodge move isn't working anymore. Suddenly, shows up and starts helping out, grabs the main guy and pulls him close, keeping him safe while the soldiers close in. She doesn't hesitate, just just acts fast, making sure he's out of harm's way. The assistant made it clear that this favor was meant to settle the score for what Leaf fans had done before. At the same time, the energy being gets annoyed, thinking these humans just won't leave him alone, kind of like pesky bugs that keep coming back no matter what he does. He looked at the portal, focused and serious. He knew there was no time to mess around. That portal had to stay safe no matter what. The alien panicked and quickly ordered his army to stop the bomb. The fan warns to keep her distance, but he's clearly got something up his sleeve. He knows the moment the bomb goes off, he has to take out the alien for good. The energy soldiers got ready, raising their arms as a glowing shield started to form around them. The shields move in fast, trying to hold back the blast from the bomb. The alien stands his ground, clearly determined to keep the portal safe no matter what happens. Li Fan's assistant holds back, thinking it's better to hang tight until the timing feels right. The main guy checks his phone and starts the countdown for his plan. Meanwhile, the mysterious hunter starts preparing, staying quiet and focused. The countdown hits 0. The timer runs out. Everyone waits, but everything stays the same. The enemy's defense falls apart, and they look totally lost. The energy being gets pretty annoyed after realizing it's been tricked. The main guy stands face to face with the alien, who's clearly not happy, and lets him know it with every angry gesture. Even though things are tense, he doesn't back down, holding his ground while the alien rants at him. Li Fan looked at the hunter, curious about why the bomb hadn't gone off. The hunter reassures him that everything is going as planned, and soon the effect should start working. The energy being eyed the portal, not really trusting what it saw. Out of nowhere, a bright purple beam bursts from the portal. The mysterious hunter lets him know that everything's ready to go. He pulls out one of his talismans and uses it to take charge of the attack coming from the portal. The talisman flew through the air and smacked right into the glowing pillar of energy that shot up from the portal. The purple energy starts to flicker. The mysterious hunter raises his hand, and suddenly a huge barrier forms above, stretching across the ceiling. Li Fan raises his voice, wanting to know if this was all set up from the start. The hunter lets everyone know that the real plan wasn't to wipe out the portal completely, but just to seal it up. He points out that the whole bomb mission wasn't really the main goal. It was just something they used to cover up what was actually going on. The guy starts making fun of the main character, acting like low-level hunters aren't worth much and are only there to be used by others. The hunter looks over at and decides he should be locked away just like the monsters. He can't believe his friend would do something like this. Anger just takes over, and all he can think about is how badly he's been let down. The hunter finishes the sealing spell, making sure everything is locked down tight. The fan yelled out the name of the Hunters Association, his face twisted with anger. He's determined to make them answer for what they did. Right then, the alien looked around and decided working with people who couldn't keep up wasn't worth his time. He gets hit by a bunch of energy lances, each one slamming into him fast before he has a chance to react. The alien lets him know that understanding this will take an entire lifetime. His heart drops when she sees her brother fall, already struck down. She can't hold back her cry, overwhelmed by how helpless she feels watching it happen. She starts crying, but at the same time, a strong energy bursts out from her. She slams her fist into the ground as hard as she can, and the energy knights get blasted back, knocked off their feet. It was already too late. The main guy's legs just gave out, and he dropped to the ground. Spots him and rushes over, looking pretty concerned. She's determined to help him, no matter what it takes. He can't help but notice that, even with tears running down her face, she still reminds him of his sister. The way she looks right now really brings back memories for him. He gently wiped the tears off his face, his expression soft as he said sorry. Li Fan slowly lowers his arm, remembering the promise he made not to let her cry. Out of nowhere, the main guy ends up standing in a dark alley. The place is pretty quiet and kind of creepy. Two people are there, both calling out to him, like they've been waiting for him to show up. He stands in the alley, catching the attention of two people nearby. Both of them watch him, probably wondering what he's doing there. He looks around, trying to figure out where he ended up and what's actually going on. Nothing seems familiar, and he's got a lot of questions running through his head. He looks around and suddenly gets it. He's back on Earth. For a second, he can't believe it. Everything feels unreal, like he's just woken up from a crazy dream. Li Fan starts to question if he's actually died, since memories from his old life start popping up in his head. Glanced over at her brother, noticing he seemed lost in thought. She tried to figure out what was going on in his head, but he just brushed it off, acting like everything was fine. The hero figures he's lucky to see his sister one last time before everything fades away for good. Calls him out for acting rude to her friend and wants to know if they've met before. Leans over and quietly mentions that the guy still doesn't have a girlfriend. He hurries forward, glancing back at the others, and waves them over for food since his stomach is already growling. The three guys head over to a food stall together. Afterwards, they head to the movies. While everyone's eyes are glued to the screen, his sister gets caught up in the story and tears up a little. The three of them head out to an amusement park, ready to make the most of the day. Their energy picks up as they spot the rides and hear the music in the distance. Each step gets a little quicker, and it's clear they're all looking forward to just letting loose and having some fun together. Since it was getting late, his friend suggested they crash at her place for the night. Li Fan looks back on everything that's happened and feels pretty content. He's glad he got to make so many great memories before leaving. Out of nowhere, he hears his sister yelling for help. He spots getting lit off by some guy. The hero takes off, sprinting fast. He's not about to let anyone take his sister again. He looks at his system and hopes it can help him run faster. His legs start to change. The main guy used his power and jumped right onto the van. Li Fan steps up and cuts the van clean in half, pulling one of the kidnappers up with him as he moves. The main guy watches as friend suddenly grabs her and takes off, jumping away fast. He can't help but think something's off about this friend. The whole move just seems shady. Just then, the main guy, now looking totally different, showed up. He stopped the girl, letting her know to hang on for a second. Li Fan reaches out and grabs the girl's clothes, his eyes searching her face. He's trying to figure out who she really is, not sure if he can trust what she's been saying. The main character reaches over and tugs at her shirt, not really thinking about what he's doing. The moment he finds out she's actually a system assistant, he just freezes. It takes him a second to process what that even means. His mind races, trying to figure out how he didn't see it before. It's like the whole world just flipped upside down for him, and now he's staring at her, unsure of what to do next. The assistant realized the main guy finally caught on to what she was up to. Everything around them starts breaking apart. The main character tries to figure out why she keeps showing up in his memories. It doesn't make sense to him, and he can't help but wonder if there's something important he's missing. Thoughts keep running through his head as he tries to piece everything together, hoping he can find an answer. She explains that darkness has already spread through half his body. The hero's voice echoed through the room as he tried to understand why she turned against him. Confused and hurt, he couldn't believe someone he trusted would do this. The weight of betrayal hit him hard, leaving him searching for answers. She wonders if he actually believes life is just going to hand him everything without any effort. She lets him know that nothing comes for free, reminding him that he owes her. As she rests her hand on his chin, he can tell she's serious. He knows he can't get out of this one. He gets really mad and grabs the assistant's hand, holding on way too tight. The hero's face gets tense, and you can tell he's not happy about what's happening. He stands his ground, not letting anyone push him around, especially her. He's got that look like he won't let her boss him around, no matter what. The assistant stops for a second, checking if he really wants to keep going while she gets ready to launch something. The object slipped from his hand and hit the ground when the assistant explained that his sister couldn't keep going much longer. Stands right in the center, with the energy army forming a tight circle around her. They're on high alert, making sure nothing gets past them. It's clear they're there to keep her safe, watching every direction, ready for whatever comes next. The assistant mentions there's still something else she wants to do for him, hoping it'll put a smile on his face. She goes on to say that could actually be his real sister. Li Fan's face turned red with anger. He couldn't believe she was actually here. There was no way this was real. He wasn't about to let himself get tricked. The assistant looked at him, kind of curious, wondering if he actually believed they just looked similar or if he had picked up on something more. She starts to wonder about his past, trying to figure out if he really came from another world or if it was all just in his head. The system assistant just looks at him, smiling. She looks at him and wants to know if he really believes isn't his actual sister. The assistant steps up with an offer. He can give the power to save everyone, but there's a catch. Nothing comes free, and he'll have to give up something in return. He stares at the dark energy sphere, trying to figure out what it is. He can't help but feel uneasy, not sure if he should get any closer. While all this was going on, stood her ground against the energy knights. She didn't back down, dodging their attacks and holding her own, determined not to let them win. The alien looks at her and basically tells her she doesn't stand a chance. The enemy sends a massive wave of energy knights charging straight at. She darts around, moving fast to avoid all the attacks coming her way. Each time something comes at her, she pushes herself harder, burning through her energy just to stay out of danger. Stares down at the guy on the ground, taking in the scene in front of her. She knows there's no turning back now. He pushes through the pain and fires off a huge energy blast, even though he's clearly hurting. The energy being just couldn't figure out why she was putting in so much effort for a regular human. It looked at her, almost confused, as if helping someone like that just didn't make sense. The enemy looked at the group and made it clear they were all in this together now. If things were going down, nobody was getting out alone. The alien suddenly shoots a beam of light straight into his stomach. He goes all in, throwing punch after punch, not holding back as he tries to end the fight right there. The alien looks pretty satisfied with himself. He thinks he's finally dealt with both of them for good. He started thinking about how much time he'd already spent on Earth, probably way more than he should have. At least the teleportation portal looked good to go, no glitches or anything. The villain looked at, clearly not happy about the idea of getting ahead of him. He didn't want to get the Master's blessings before he did. You could see it in his eyes. There was no way he was going to let that happen. Out of nowhere, something off catches his attention. Out of nowhere, a powerful dark force bursts out, spreading fast and making the whole area tense. He gets back on his feet, full of energy, like he's ready to take on whatever's next. Glanced at him and could tell tell something had changed. Li Fan realized it had been a long time since he'd felt this alive. The alien stares, kind of confused by how these tiny bugs just won't give up. He calls the energy knights together so they can get ready to attack again. He stands there and lets the attack hit him right in the chest, not even trying to move out of the way. Even with his chest wounded, Li Fan couldn't help but let out a dark laugh. But then, right where the hole was in his chest, these huge teeth started pushing out. The main guy lets out a wild scream, energy bursting out of him. Right then, it hits him just how real the pain actually feels, like it's not just part of some game. The alien stares, stunned that its attack just disappeared, completely swallowed up. It can sense a huge wave of power coming from Li Fan, way more than it expected. The enemy thinks to himself that he's a level 5 terrorist. He stands his ground, not letting some regular guy boss him around. Without hesitating, he launches a strong attack, showing he's not about to back down. The guy just smirks, not taking the whole level 5 terror thing seriously at all. He looks like he's just messing around, not even a bit scared. With his power, the main guy forces all the knights to drop to their knees. Even the alien eel was there, floating around like it belonged. The enemy stares, totally confused about how this could even happen. He figures he should probably consider himself lucky to see a real level 5 terror up close. Li Fan thinks it's pretty cool. He wanted to take charge over those he thought were weaker than him. He thinks the alien just doesn't get what energy is really about. The villain narrowed his eyes, clearly annoyed. He acted like last time didn't count, brushing it off as pure luck. Now he looked ready to end things for real, sizing up the protagonist with a cold confidence. He forms a dark energy sphere in his hand. He decides he's had it and gets ready to prove he's stronger, even with the knights floating overhead, watching his every move. The main character goes all out, opening a massive demonic mouth and swallowing up the energy knights like it's nothing. Li Fan gathers his strength and forms a sharp blade made out of pure energy. The blade glows bright and looks like it could cut through anything. Dark Aura, the main guy, lifts his hand. Li Fan charges at the alien, using a blast of dark energy that looks way stronger than anything he's tried before. Night was closing in, and the air around the city started to buzz. It was like something powerful was making its way into the heart of those late hours, changing the usual vibe of the night. With one strong move, he breaks through the darkness. The alien, caught off guard, turns to run as the attack gets closer. He yells, trying to get his squad back together. The knights moved in fast, sticking close together, and lifting their shields to build a solid barrier. It was like a human wall, blocking anything that tried to get through. Behind them, the alien had a clear path to make a run for it. The enemy stares at the hero, trying to figure out how he pulled off a move only the level 5 terrors are known for. The main guy focused, using his power to drag the alien closer. The villain stands there totally lost, trying to figure out what's going on. He looks around, but nothing makes sense to him. Grabs the enemy and yanks him in, not letting any space between them. The alien started yelling, trying to get his army back together around him. He wanted his guys to close in and keep him safe. The knights regrouped. The main guy isn't bothered at all about handling these weaker terrors. He just shrugs it off, like it's nothing he can't handle. The hero points out that none of them can match his energy control. The hero explains that the alien doesn't really care about its body. For the alien, it's just something to hold all its power, nothing more. For Fan, his body works like an energy converter. The boy flashes a sly grin, hinting that he's not done yet. He's got something else up his sleeve. The main character believes he can tap into endless energy. The villain couldn't believe what he was seeing. He stared, almost frozen, struggling to process it. Even someone ranked as high as a level 7 messenger shouldn't be able to pull this off. And yet, it was happening right in front of him. Li Fan gave him a look that was full of attitude, making it obvious he didn't take him seriously at all. He starts to wonder if he's actually stronger than a level 7 terror. The enemy gets all worked up, yelling at him to stay quiet and making it clear he isn't buying any of it. The alien moves in and begins to drain energy from the other monsters, pulling their strength away for itself. He charges forward, wrapping up hundreds of monsters all at once. The villain stands tall, making it clear to everyone that he doesn't need backup. He's got all the power he needs on his own. In his eyes, there's no difference between himself and an entire army. The enemy merges with the monsters, turning into one massive beast. The giant creature swung its huge hand at the hero, smashing down with a heavy hit. The main guy gathers a little bit of energy, not really impressed by the alien's display. He acts like it's nothing special, almost laughing it off. Li Fan steps up and promises to help them get out of this mess. He steps up and uses his power, making every monster turn back to normal. The alien stares at the thing eating it, totally confused and not sure what's going on. The main guy unleashes his energy, and the huge monster just fades away like it's nothing. Right at the last moment, the alien bolts out of there, barely managing to get away. The guy shows everyone what he really looks like. The villain totally loses it, yelling at the hero for seeing what he really looks like. Underneath all that swagger, he's just this thin, awkward creature. Li Fan noticed that he always relied on his army to look tough, but deep down, he knew he wasn't that strong on his own. The main guy reaches out and taps his finger right on the alien's forehead. The hero looked at the chariot and knew it was done for. He could tell there was no saving it now, now. The ride was officially over. But out of nowhere, a sharp pain shoots through his whole body. Right then, the system assistant popped up and pointed out that Li Fan's body wasn't strong enough. Out of nowhere, shows up and holds a knife right at the hero's neck. The girl looks straight at him, clearly wanting to know what happened to her brother. He lets know that he's okay, trying to show her he's not hurt or anything. He can't help but wonder what it is about girls like her that catches the protagonist's attention. The tentacles started to come out of the main guy again. The main guy decides he's going to help her get back together with him right now. The hero reached out with his tentacles and grabbed. The shadows started to pull in, slowly covering her as she struggled. After taking in, the guy's face shows something different. There's a twisted grin, but his eyes are wet like he's about to cry. Li Fan pulls back his tentacles. He can't help but light up, finally letting it sink in that they've almost reached the end of their payback. It's been a long time coming, and he feels fired up knowing the finish line is right in front of them. After our hero says sorry too, he feels awkward, not sure if things will get better or just stay weird between them. He tries to act normal, but deep down, he's worried she might still be upset. The room gets quiet for a second, and he keeps glancing at her, hoping for some kind of sign that she's cool with it. He thought about how he let down the person he cared about most. Deep down, he couldn't shake the guilt of not being able to keep them safe. Li Fan reaches his arm out. His arm suddenly changes, turning into a big red blade. The main guy charges straight at the alien, not even hesitating. He throws himself into the fight, fists clenched and ready, determined to take it down himself. Out of nowhere, a whole squad of blue knights shows up and gets between everyone and the alien, ready to defend it. The knights quickly lined up, standing shoulder to shoulder as they tried to block the incoming attack. Their faces showed they were serious, ready to protect everyone behind them no matter what happened next. The attack starts to crack the shield. The shield shattered, and the alien let out a desperate yell. It clearly didn't want things to end for it here in this strange spot. The main guy swings his blade and lands a hit on the alien. Li Fan hit the ground and looked around, thinking to himself that if anyone here was the real bug, it was definitely him. The alien lay on the ground, clearly beaten, but suddenly started laughing. The villain looks disappointed, thinking it's lame to leave without ever getting a win over that demon. But then something strange starts happening to him. The guy suddenly lets out a yell, clutching at his side. The alien just stares, not really sure what's going on or how to react. Grabs his head, yelling out in disbelief. He can't believe what's happening, and it all just seems too much for him to handle. Inside his head, the main guy reaches out and takes hold of his assistant. The darker side of the hero kept twisting around, clearly hurting. The hero reached out his hand. He held onto the assistant and tried to make things clear, letting him know that only a part of his mind had been eaten away, not the whole thing. He thinks back on everything he's been through and all the memories that have piled up over time. It starts to make sense to him why he ended up splitting like that. His personality split into two sides. Was the part of him that always tried to do the right thing. When things got tough, that side of him would step up, helping him make better choices and keep people out of trouble. Even when he messed up, was the reason he tried to fix things and look out for his friends. The system assistant panics, trying to take over, but no matter how hard he tries, he still can't move the body. The other side of our hero wasn't sure what to make of her. Part of him wanted to be grateful, but another part just couldn't let go of the annoyance. He was stuck somewhere in between, not sure how he should feel about everything she'd done. He just looks at her, not saying anything, trying to figure out what's going on in her head. Explained that he'd asked her to look out for, but instead, she ended up destroying her. She tells him that handed over all her energy to help him stand a chance in the fight. Because of what happened, the girl drifted off and didn't wake up, almost like she was lost in a really long nap. He walks over and stops her, making it clear she shouldn't do it. He couldn't shake off the worry. No matter what it took, even if things went off the rails and everything fell apart, he was set on bringing back. The assistant starts to question if the girl actually wanted to get caught on purpose. The assistant is stuck and can't get out. No matter how hard he tries, he just can't move. She realizes that trying to push him away is actually what messed things up for her in the end. The assistant shot him a dirty look, making it clear he didn't see the hero as a real man. He didn't look like he stood a chance against the alien. He figured he owed her a thank you for helping out. Suddenly his arm starts to change. Li Fan thinks back to how she explained energy, realizing it actually made things way clearer for him. He feels different now, like something inside him clicks, and he goes through a full transformation. Outside, the alien stares at the human, confused about why he suddenly froze. The villain stands there, unsure if he should run away or use this moment to finish the guy off. He weighs his options, not moving right away, just trying to figure out what to do next. The enemy stands his ground, not even thinking about leaving. He's waited ages for this moment, and there's no way he's backing down now. The alien, totally fed up and angry, decides he's done taking any more insults. He'd rather end things now than go through any more embarrassment, so he charges straight at the protagonist, ready to fight. The alien swings hard and hits Li Fan straight on. Li Fan just stands there, not even trying to block the attack. The enemy stumbles, looking unsure. He didn't expect what just happened and starts to second-guess if his attack actually connected. The villain smirked, clearly enjoying himself. He could tell the main guy was worn out after using that powerful move, and he didn't bother hiding how much he liked seeing it. The alien looks around, clearly running low on energy. Without much warning, he calls out for backup, and suddenly a bunch of monsters appear all over again, ready to cause even more trouble. He gets ready to drain the energy out of the monsters. He lay on the ground, catching his breath, his mind slowly piecing things together. Memories started coming back, how he could turn his own body into a converter. It wasn't easy, but the steps were coming back to him, clear and familiar, like muscle memory kicking in when you need it most. He begins to soak up the energy around him, slowly bouncing back from the hit he just took. He finally stands up, grinning, now that he's figured out how to move his body the right way.
Lately, I've had a strong addiction to watching manhwa and manga recap videos. Every single day, I find myself binging one after another, losing hours and days doing absolutely nothing productive. And honestly, it's getting out of hand. So, maybe we can make these viral videos too. I mean, look at the views, the growth, the community these creators are building. It looks simple, right? But that's a trap. You go down this endless rabbit hole, spending money, losing sleep, hiring editors and writers from Fiverr and Upwork, and still feel like you've been robbed. Because don't forget how emotional the YouTube algorithm can be with making videos go viral. It's unpredictable, especially when the market's saturated, competition's relentless, and somehow other creators are dropping 10-hour videos daily while you're stuck trying to finish one. That's when I realized something had to change. So, I built the solution, the Webtoon Narrative Suite, a complete one-click system that handles everything from cropping, script narration, text-to-speech, image processing, and full video generation in one smooth process. Save money, reduce hours of work, and have a tool that only gives you straight results. Click on the link down below and experience it for yourself. And if you want even more tools to supercharge your YouTube recap journey, visit my Ko-Fi and Patreon pages where I drop weekly new tools designed to keep you ahead as AI continues to steal our jobs. So tap in now before you get left behind.